Whoops. Wrong song. Sorry. We're back. Nope, nope. Just so you know, I will not look kindly at any further attempts to leave this behind. We do this together. I once said I wanted to fight for Stinian, that I wanted to save him, not just let him be sacrificed for the cause. And now I say the same to you. Gods knows you've spent enough time changing into danger on our behalf. It's only fair we return the favor. The volunteers who journeyed to Kalusia have all been safely returned to their homes. They've also assured us they will do their best to hold the Eaters at bay at our assistance. There's nothing I can do to weaken the light that's trapped within you, but I'll do everything in my power to keep it from breaking free. If the Warden's ether overwhelms you, you will become a Sin Eater, so save your strength when it really matters. If thine affairs are in order, then I shall unfold to thee my proposal. Our destination is the ocean floor, yet our goal is not simply to arrive there. Nay, we must have the means to breathe and fight freely. Thus I would petition the aid of one of the Fae, a being with whom I have yet to meet face to face. Rather than waste words on explanation, I bid thee follow me to the hamlet of Sullen, which lieth to the south and west. All will become abundantly clear, I promise thee. I was going to say something. I can't remember what. Nah, whatever. Doesn't matter. Oh, right. I need to set up my bar, don't I? Well, I'll do that as I walk down here. Catch a ride. Hey, Rax. Could I catch a ride, please? Okay, so that needs to be 1. And then I need that one on 2. That one on 3. By the way, hi Zera, hi Ice Tray, hi Dakota. And if you're listening, hi Valvedrix, hi Casual. And I guess that's it. Zera wanted an invite. Sucks to be Zera. I'm kidding. That one. And then I'm gonna need... I have 1 4. What? Ah! I clouded the stars. That actually hurts. There we go. I live. I am going here, if it'll let me. There we go. I always knew Zero was secretly evil. I mean, not existing. It's all good, Rax. Do what you gotta do. Lord knows I, of all people, understand being busy. Hi, Baron. There it is. And I need... So, guys, I just want to share something. I've been spending a decent amount of time, basically all of my spare time, has been spent doing additional work for this premiere run. I'm not complaining, that's just a statement of fact. Now, I point that out because I decided last night to be like, you know what, I'd really like to try and get my mount, my mount. Thank you, Zero. The mount that I want. The mount that I want to have long-term. Like, the mount I will use long-term. We did 5, 6 runs of that frickin' dungeon. Didn't drop once. And it's like 12 minutes a run. Even with 80s. Unsynced, yeah. What mount? Well, Valvedrix can show you the mount if she feels like it. Because she has it. Because she's evil. This mount is the one I want. I probably don't have to explain why, but even ignoring the fact that it's from FF6, I really like the design of it. Like, I legitimately do. I think that's actually pretty cool looking. It's not over-designed, but it still has a cool factor going for it. And it's got, I don't know, it's got a cool steampunk vibe to it, which is something FF6 did pretty well in general, actually. To compare and contrast, if you'll give me a moment, there's another Magitech mount in this game, which looks like this. Now, this is the Amano art of the exact same thing. But look at it! Look at this! Here, let me get side by side with Valvatrix here. Look at this. Yeah, lorerunnershow at Gmail. Now, granted, I know that some people just like Amano, and that's cool. However you want to do it, that's totally on you. I'm not trying to judge. I don't like it. But even regardless, this also just doesn't even look like the Magitech armor in 6, in my opinion. I mean, you see there's literally not even the arms that are visible in the sprites in FF6. Anyways, regardless of that, they give you this easy and free pretty early on. I just don't like it. It's a little too stylistic. I don't like the veiny pumps on the back that are kind of vibrating and pulsing weirdly. I don't like the wing thing. You get it. But I like the Magitech Predator, and I have since the moment I saw that it was in the game. And I really want to have that mount, and it hasn't frickin' dropped. What's the Mana Cutter? Yes, I did. I had leftover spaghetti today. I doubt I have the Mana Cutter. Never mind, apparently I do have the Mana Cutter. This is apparently the Mana Cutter. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not my thing. I don't actually have anything to say about it. It's a thing. No, of the mounts I have right now, the only one I'm actually happy with, other than the cute Chocobo, is this thing. Which should also look familiar. The problem with this mount is it basically has no animation. What you're looking at is the flying animation. And the running animation. And the jumping animation. The hovering. There's only one animation set for the entire mount. And this is it. You're looking at it. And it also looks kind of weird from the back. So when you're staring at this for long periods of time, it's kind of weird. So, anyways, sorry. Getting off topic. No, this is regular spaghetti. I had to cook in a hurry because... Well, I think I just said this, but I've been spending all of my spare time playing this game. I cooked that spaghetti while doing an MSQQ. I was extremely AFK for it, but, you know. Anyways, there to the west. Canst thou discern the hump of an isle rising above the water? No. Oh, yes, I see it. That foliage-covered mass hideth the key to our safe descent. Swim close and plunge beneath the surface. Though it be much to my shame, I can but flail and flounder where thou mayest glide as a fish. I shall board a boat to the island and spare one and all the spectacle of mine inept strokes. That would also be a very cool mount, Leander. I will absolutely give you that. I suppose I could demonstrate here, because underwater is actually the flying animation. So here's the flying animation. Look familiar? Yeah. Actually, it's funny you say that, Dieselage. So, this is my fault. But this mount is one I actually paid for with real money. Whoops! I just erased a button. Hang on, give me one moment. Oh god, what's the name of that spell? Actually, I don't need that, do I? There it is. Anyways. So I actually paid real money for this mount. Now, there's two reasons for that. First of all, it's a two-seater mount. However, the other reason, and this is my fault, is I thought it was a four-seater mount. I mean, look at this thing. In other words, I thought this was a party mount. There's literally 4 slots on it, kind of like the car. It is not. This is a 2-seater mount. I am not super happy about that fact. FF9 mount. I mean, Ozma is in the game, but I'm thinking if there's any I'd actually want, and I don't think I can come up with any. Whoops. Oh, crap. Back down. Oh my gosh, it's totally eyelids. Ooh. Hi, Mother Mirset. Well, I was thinking if... Because there's actually quite a few airships in FF9, including one of my favorite airships, the Hildegard Mark I. Yes, Mark I. Specifically the one that Kuja steals. I've actually always liked the design of that ship. So I wouldn't mind having a miniature version of that to fly around on. There you are. Once you've completed your underwater investigations, the path leads to the top of the island. Okay. If you solved Urianje's little mystery, you can find him further up the slope. 'Twas all rather obvious to my eyes, though I concede I have an unfair advantage. By the way, Bragwin, do you have your earring on? Actually, better question, does Bragwin even have the earring? Even seeing it so up close, I'm not sure what's so special about this island. Yeah, it's a turtle or something, guys. Come on. And of course, Zira is technically a witch. Ah, it's pre-order only. Well, that sucks. Because that earring is, in my opinion, basically mandatory. But you know my opinion on leveling speed. The locals call this the Isle of Ken, which I presume must refer to knowledge. Either that or someone's being awfully zealous about marking his territory. Have Baku as a mount. Thine impression is not inaccurate. According to the lore of the Pixies, we are even now perched on the back of an ancient Fey entity. His name is Bismarck. The self-same title by which we know the great feathered whale revered by the Vanu Vanu of the source. I would enlist its aid to bear us into the deep, and thence banish the water with an airy sphere, alike in form to the domes which do shelter the hamlets neath the ruby sea. Within its compass we may move unencumbered, and defend ourselves when the hour of battle cometh, as it most surely shall. Now, I must needs ask for silence while I make supplication. It's an FF5 Meteor, but every time you land, you get a debuff that's called Amnesia. It doesn't actually do anything, it just gives you the Amnesia debuff.
Wir Sach, Bilan Bismail. Fallen si lor wislan, adas si alina.
Van urs Atslir, Olfod Thim, Iri Guath Thi.
Oh dear. I don't need to speak Fae to know that didn't go well.
Oh, my snee yak! You've learned to call me at last! And where do you go? On a trip? A journey? I knew you wouldn't give up without a fight. Oh, my precious mortal, I shall help you in any way I can.
I do not belong to you.
Gers Bismail win picked. Van dromi drom yakum.
Sleepy Bismarck, you old pixie. These are my precious, precious saplings.
Van red rithye.
Let their wish be the king's command.
Una, Sahawin Wisk,
What a rare thing to awaken to. My beautiful king, if it be thy wish, then so shall it be done. Thank you, Diesel Edge. I'm glad you
Be sure
enjoyed.
to scrub this one's teeth for him upon your return. It's only good manners.
It will be done, Your Majesty. Our deepest thanks for your timely intervention.
An agreement is reached and your departure is at hand. You wingless ones best hold on tight.
To what? Ah!
May the blessings of the Fae keep you safe, Inba.
To the western sea we go. Wrapped in my breath, I will see you to your destination, little neighbors. Yeah, okay, this is a lunar whale moment.
And just like that, it's all gone back to the way it was.
What was you expecting? 100 years of honey and rainbows? Seeing them Yulmore types wake up and smell the ashes was miracle enough for me.
Ah, but the magic in the air when that ladder started moving. And when that great hulking Talos rose up. Gods. I could live 1,000 years and never behold anything so amazing.
What the? You see that?
Apparently Bismarck was in FF11. And 13. So there you go. 6, 11, 13, and 14. Oh, and apparently 15.
Monster! Where did it even come from?
Oh god, it's Sid!
Whoa there!
It's not stopping.
That does look a lot like Sin, actually. And yes, 14 has 2 Bismarcks. I have fulfilled my duty. I return now to the lake. I have not flown in an age. It was pleasant, May your journey be a safe one, little neighbors.
Jasny.
Oh goody, Sestasha. That's not my least favorite dungeon. It's not even my second least favorite.
Wow.
The breath of Bismarck. See how it swells to form a dome beneath the waves? The waters recede. The tempest's floor is laid bare. In defiance of the blinding sky, this place holds fast to its gloom. The last refuge of he who denies the light with every fiber of his being. You stand at the precipice, hero. Journey unto the heart of darkness. Finish it.
They did it with Aliza too, if I remember correctly, Neptune Satomi, which is a thing I like. I like a good implementation of music overwhelming standard combat music. I dare say Urianger endured much playful attention from the pixies to learn the lore of Bismarck. He's nothing if not a dedicated scholar. With all that water out of the way, we'll be able to venture quite some distance. Emmett Selk must be hiding around here somewhere. It's amazing. I can't even see the surface. I mean, you know. Bismarck must be powerful indeed to create a dome of this size. I can only pray to whatever gods are listening that it continues to hold. At this point, I'm pretty sure there are no actual gods in this setting. So... Ragwin! Ragwin! I remember being impressed by the domes of Tamamizu, but this makes them look like bubbles in a stream. Okay, look in the lower left of your chat thing. Click the bubble. Go all the way to the bottom to where it says CWLS : lore shell, and then click that. Oh, this is a big zone. Oh my goodness. Full glad am I that Bismarck was true to his word. We have arrived in the Tempest, safe and dry. 'Tis here that we shall find the lair of Emmett Selk, and, I believe, the imprisoned Exarch as well. For an Ascian alone, it is of course a traveling matter to flee into the rift, yet I suspect such travel is nigh impossible with a mortal in one's custody. Nay, he would not soon risk his prize when the Exarch's body serveth as the key to the Crystal Tower and its powers of temporal transportation. Well, that's exactly what we need, for the Ascians to have time travel. Actually, here's a better question. Why don't they? Think about it for a second. Thus, I am all but certain that this underwater realm harboureth our friend and enemy both. We have but to find them. Well, that's the game, guys. No, I'm kidding. Now, as for where we should be looking, I rather doubt Emmett Selk will be sitting around in the open. I propose we follow the slope down towards the deeper trenches. Keep an eye out for rock formations large enough to house a stronghold. Watch your footing. The ground is wet, probably slippery. Yeah, I'm really upset that I can't do these quests as a 72. This is not the first time I've had that problem, consequently. Shrug. Wasted exp, wasted exp. It's a very unique skybox, that's for certain. That's true, Remedies Exion. Progress is progress, bit by bit, though it may be. I do like the water appearance on the ground, too. Even though we can't actually see it. Hi, Colgrim. And hello, Kosi. Good lord, a 5-hour flight. I am so sorry. Stretch, man, stretch! There we go. Brigwin has joined us. Yay. Oh yeah, this whole place is probably pretty messed up. Hi, Mind Blast. Well, time to chop off for the night. That's hysterical, Remedies Exion. You're welcome. Oh, right. Listen, it's not my fault you watch. You're like the waitresses or waiters at restaurants. They wait until the second you take a bite, and then they come by to ask how your food is. That's a very unusual looking aetherite. Because it's called Aether, not Ether. Smack. Just for the sake of it. The fiddless ones, they followed me. Why have you come? Was it you who took away our water? Yeah, how are you breathing out of the water? Oh, I guess Sahagins can't do that. They should still probably be having a little bit of difficulty right now. Ah, this is where the Ondo make their home. I had wondered. Pray forgive us any inconvenience we have caused. We were not aware your people lived in the Tempest. We need this great dome of air that we might conduct a most urgent search, and thus I beg your understanding. Chieftain, what are we to do? Well, we can attack them and die, or be friendly. Which should we do? Are you emissaries of the Ancient One? Who? The mysteries have stirred. We have seen the... I'm not going to speak like he says. I'll do one sentence like he says it. We have seen the illuminated land shining through the gloom of the abyss. If you are emissaries, the chosen, I bid you welcome. If you are not, I bid you leave. I am not sure I understand. Would you be willing to elaborate? Well, this is a filler arc, you see, and we kind of want you to waste some time for a while before you get to the actual final conclusion. Oh, okay. Well, we're well familiar with filler arcs, thank you very much. So what's the plan? Given your condition, I'm reluctant to suggest lingering. That said, our presently meandering search would proceed far more swiftly if we could call about the Ondo's local knowledge. Yes, I'd like to know more about this illuminated land the chieftain spoke of. Could it be Emmett Selk's stronghold? Perhaps he lit the lanterns upon his return? We cannot dismiss the possibility, but if these Ondo refuse to speak with us, then we must kill them and torture them into submission. Do you remember my first scheme for hunting Yulmore? I had planned to ingratiate myself by offering lucrative trading opportunities with the Ondo. The individual I dealt with was reticent in manner and curious in custom, but we were able to reach an agreement nonetheless. I believe that is the right approach. But we could just torture them. What kind of approach did you have in mind? The chieftain fellow didn't leave us with many options. If we are to tread the swiftest course, we must needs locate its beginning. 'Tis plain our all-too-dramatic arrival hath thrown this settlement into confusion. Were we to solve such problems as we have caused, and assure our hosts thereby our purpose is not inimical to them, they may yet prove amenable to reason. I smell chores. Yeah, it's called filler. Okay, so yeah, we're going to start skimming through some of these. We will make allies of the Ondo. By torturing them. Yeah. It's okay. My version of torture just involves forcing them to listen to Nickelback over and over. Fates that may or may not be up at any given point in time. Let's not forget that stab rags. And you have to get gold on to get credit. You know what's funny is I actually like a few Nickelback songs. I mean, that's true for a lot of artists I like. I usually don't like artists, I like songs. So, like... Okay. Sure, I suppose. Now that does surprise me, Blackval, because you and I tend to agree on almost nothing. So for once, we agree. Sploosh. Sorry. I should probably switch classes while I'm traveling, at least. I love that. I switched to a level 80 healer. With good gear, I don't even have twice as much the health as I do as a level 72 paladin with crap gear. Oh, God. Why is an ether current up there? I should probably try to grab that. I know, right, Recursive? I just keep thinking to myself, how long does this last? Like, no thought is given by anyone to, you know, the bubble just kind of stopping existing. Right? I mean, the bubble popping, basically. Come on! Oh, God! Okay, hang on. Let's try this from a different angle. I may just ask Grax to fly me up to this one. This is proving more irritating than these usually are. It's hard to judge my jump angle in this thing. Yeah, I think that might just be a little bit too high. Okay, let's try it like this. Okay, thank you. Who is that? That's Zira. Yeah, Bismarck left, exactly. He even said it, like, yep, I'm out. Peace. It was fun flying. And it's like, okay, thanks. It'll be the end of Wind Waker all over again. Which is admittedly a really awesome scene, but kind of terrifying for everything trapped underneath. Anyways, thank you, Zero. I really should make the effort to get these. It's just been low priority for the stream. Leveling has been the biggest priority for the stream. And will continue to be, near as I can tell. Hey look, where'd the dry return? At least leveling is a little bit quicker the second time around. God, all this gear and I'm still doing 10,000 damage. Of course, that makes sense. My gear doesn't improve my magic damage, it improves my healing. If I'm understanding how the gear works, which I believe I am. Oh yeah! So I've been debating a plus to story. And I know you guys hate it when I give out pluses to story. Really? Then why is my item level went up by like 50, and my damage hasn't budged an inch, Remedy's Exion. I'm still doing 10,000. So, what the hell? Like, I've been paying attention to... In fact, I made a comment on it. 9,513, 10,427, 10,270, 10,268. Oh, is that it? Yep, that's it. Okay. Anyways, so I know you hate it when I try to give pluses to story. Especially you, Rax, and all your negativity. So, I guess I should mount. I've I've talked before about the idea about how our party is the Scions in FF14. But I gotta be honest, it's never actually really felt that way until Shadowbringers. Like, usually the party is just kind of there, or occasionally they're still with us, or it's one person, like it was Lys throughout Stormblood, or it was Alphino throughout Heavensward, you know? It's never really felt like what I would call the party of a Final Fantasy game until this game, where they've actually been doing a pretty good job of showing the party throughout. And I do like that, which is funny, because I never really realized how much I missed that until I was going through this expansion. And it's like, God, why haven't I been having this for the last 3, you know? I mean, don't mistake me. Obviously, there's plenty of room for individual character stuff. It's just... I'm not even sure I can name another moment in which we've had the party throughout the course of the game. Yes, I could crack shells. Please give me more filler quests. Please. Please. I don't want a reward. I just want info. I suppose I should read that part out loud. Before the flood came, it is said our ancestral home was found in the seas to the south. It was utterly destroyed by the light. Only those who were out hunting survived. They swam, aimless and lost, until they spied buildings here on the ocean floor. Strange buildings they were, and long they had stood under the water, yet somehow they had been spared the scars of time and current. These structures provided shelter for my people, protection from the tempest's turbulent waters and the predators which hunted within them. Their very existence seemed a miracle. The first settlers pondered their good fortune. It was clear the race who had built such wonders had guided their course, and from this they did discern the truth! Which is what? The ancients had chosen us to serve as caretakers of their eternal sanctuary until which time they return. Thus, if it is judged that your coming, and the great vanishing of water, was by the ancients' design, you'll find warm welcome here. Truly astonishing history. But I cannot help but wonder, how will the significance or otherwise of our arrival be decided? The ancients have blessed us with protection and prosperity. If your presence serves to bring the same, there will be no doubt on the matter. Okay. Then it would seem our earlier decision was the correct one. We thank you for the lesson, and will continue to do all we can to assist your people. Should you desire our help with any other trouble, pray do not hesitate to ask. We will do the filler quests. Filler. Hi, Permeus. How are the things? That's very strange. Filler is my passion. God, how many years has it been since we played that stupid game? Wait, you have a theory? No! I like how just 15 quests just pop up all of a sudden. Oh, she's outside. Attack bomber complete. Attack bomber complete. Can someone do me a favor and look up really quick when the next PAX is? I think it's PAX West, but I'm not actually sure of that. I'm pretty sure it's in a few weeks here. A month at the outside, but I'm just curious. Apparently there's going to be news on the 30th, so that'll be the end of this week. Excellent. Hopefully I'll have some news for Lore Week about that. PAX West. I was right. It is PAX West. Woo! Wait, hang on. So 4 days from now. 1, 2, 3. Ah, just after our anniversary. You want me to what? So out of curiosity, Rex, why don't you want me to get a ride in here? Especially given how much it would speed things up. You know, I don't remember Takota. I still think of it as Cataclysm mentally. So for the record, there's a zone up here. It's called Azizla. You literally cannot navigate this. Well, I shouldn't say that. I have no idea if it's possible to navigate this place without flying. I wouldn't even want to imagine it. This doesn't get it across. It's a bunch of floating islands connected to each other with a giant, like, space station in the middle. It's actually a pretty cool zone, and in fact, one of my favorite zones of the game. This is an interesting take on what seems to be a similar concept, but anyways, moving on. Yeah, you can transmog in this game, Brigwin, but it's hampered, to put it simply. And it's more limited than what you can do over in WoW. Sorry, I should be reading this out loud. I'm sorry. I heard filler, so my mind just went, okay, let's go. Remember, she can see ether directly. Lore, everywhere I turn in this place, my gaze is drawn by peculiar materials for which I do not have a name. The buildings I had you investigate are prime examples. They may appear to be constructed of ordinary stone, but I assure you it is nothing of the sort. If pressed, I would describe the substance as a composite of several mineral properties, blended to create a material of unparalleled durability. Even the Ronkan Empire, once the greatest power of Norvrant, produced nothing which compares to this level of perfection. But if not Ronka, then whom? Who were these ancient, the Ondo claim as architects of their sanctuary? I suspect our answer lies with the reason Emmett Selk withdrew here to the Tempest. He may simply have wished to retreat somewhere where mortals would struggle to reach, but there are many such remote locations. Why here, specifically? Emmett Selk is devoted to his role, and thus we might assume his choice of stronghold somehow serves the Yassian agenda. Or mayhap 'tis a place more dear to him than any other. That is my theory, that these structures are remnants of a time before history, of a star that was yet whole and unbroken. Such traces in the source would have been obliterated by the succession of unbelievable calamities, but here, in the first, they might have remained untouched for millennia. Actually, it would be interesting to note that there might be remnants of the Amarat across all of the shards. A copy of the mural in the Katana Revel. Almet presented it to me during my visit to Fano after our victory in Kalusia. Here in the first scene, by Emmett Selk's own words, it depicts a city of eons past and the disaster which befell it. The design is much simplified, of course, but do you see the similarities between the towers and those you inspected? We are close to the truth, I feel. Let us search the surrounds for another tower, one that matches the picture near enough to remove all doubt. From what I have seen, not more than sand and more sand lies to the east, and the south held no such structures. I suggest we try to the northwest. No quest indicator. That's actually exceptionally rare for this game. 15 negatives to gameplay. I don't know, Neptune. The advanced ancients thing is an extremely common trope. And I don't know why. I legitimately don't understand why it's such a thing. I mean, Lord knows I understand the generic concept of being fascinated by a particular concept. But the idea of being into that one in specific eludes me. I suppose Rome would seem very advanced to several generations after it. Never mind some of the other wonders of quite a few civilizations, really, now that I think about it. Either way, I still find it weird, because, like... I don't know. It reminds me, in a way, of Lord of the Rings, which is a similar trope, just in a different expression. In that case, it's magic rather than technology. But it's the same idea. The first age of Lord of the Rings is vastly superior to the third age, which is when the movies and the books happen. And I've talked many times before, that's terrifying looking. Alright, who dares me to jump? It's a really common thing to have, you know, the old era, Jesus Christ, be, basically things getting more mundane and more bogged down over time. Well, there goes Cashel. Who can fly? Now, in deference... Oh, really? In deference to Lord of the Rings, obviously he had a specific point behind, you know, everything getting depowered over time. It was a specific part of the narrative, in fact. I have a feeling a lot of other settings have simply done so because Lord of the Rings did it. Which you could say about a lot of narrative tropes, actually. It would be fascinating to someday see how many different narrative tropes are done because Lord of the Rings did it. That sounds pretty good to me, Pillars of Snow. Trey, jealous. Ah, here it is. Okay. Just have to find... Aha! There it is. Oh yeah, no kidding, recursive. So, to get to the point, though, let's think about this just for real quick before I do this. So we've got Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 5, Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 7, debatably, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10, not sure about 11, Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy 13, and Final Fantasy 14. Those are all the FFs that have some kind of ancient precursor race which is super more advanced than the modern era. It would be much... Like, I think 2 didn't have anything. And neither did... There was another one. I think 11, which I don't even know. 10 was a unique case because it's not a great ancient people. It's more like their society has lost... They're basically going through a technological dark age. But we've already talked about that many times. But I point that out because even FF1, the original Final Fantasy, still used that trope. Aye, this is the mural writ large. 15 had one too, you're right. 15 had one as well. Though I cannot guess at its purpose, it must have been an imposing sight. How much of the tower's height lies hidden beneath the ground, I wonder? Probably quite a bit. Centuries of our history have settled upon such ruins, countless layers of dust and sediment. An entire civilization, its existence forgotten by all but a handful of Ascians. And yet it did exist. They lived here in this city. They called it Xanarkand. Judging by his words, he believes this phenomenon related to the Ancient's return. Thus we can surmise that what the Ondo saw shining in the abyss was in all likelihood yet another remnant of this age-old civilization. And who else would light the light the lanterns, as Reen put it, than Emmett Selk himself? 'Tis almost certain he is there. But if we were to find this stronghold in a timely manner, it seems gaining the Ondo's trust is our best path. So let's go do filler quest. Filler quest. By the way, thank you, Rax, for helping me find this. Sorry, I didn't say that out loud. You're recreating Rome, yeah. Ooh. I mean, who wouldn't want robot butlers? Alright, Remedies Exion. I'm going to ship you 12 robot butlers. And they're all super sexy. I'm sorry. I was thinking of droids, actually. And then in the middle of the thought, I was suddenly reminded that there's those stupid, like, Betty Boop droids that Lucas came up with that were put into Star Wars Clone Wars, the show. Grinold. I actually know that name. You know why? Because he, upon you finishing role quests, gives you level 80 gear for all classes. Now, from what I understand, please feel free to correct me on this, but this is cool if it's true. If I were to finish the class quest as an astrologian, when and if I got Scholar to 80, I could talk to him and he'd be like, here's a suit of armor. If I finished White Mage, he'd be like, here's a suit of armor. For White Mage and for Scholar, because I finished the healer chain. Which is kind of cool. I'm not sure why they don't just have 4 suits of armor. It's not like they haven't done that before. But, you know, whatever. It's still cool. Yeah, funny, isn't it, Cashel? I wonder if people have been irritated by that over the years. Like, damn it. We have to include such and such because Clone Wars did it. Damn it. Hello? What the hell are you? Well, that's just great. My mind's playing tricks on me now. Look, Grenold, someone's come to visit you at the bottom of the Bladen Ocean. Or might you be a ghost? Go on, you foul shade. Feast yourself on my rotten soul. I've no use for it. Craftsman what can't craft is more pointless than a sea slug with a dome and hammer. And that's an insult to the bloody sea slugs. Okay. Slash psych. Eh? Yeah, you wouldn't be trying to raise me spirits now, would you, spirit? What would you expect from a servant of the Netherworld? Because of Lord of the Rings. Dayrun. He looks strangely familiar. Different hair. What's that supposed to mean? Not impressed with what you say, lad. Ah, well, I may have let myself go a bit. This was meant to be my underwater sanctuary. Place where I could concentrate on my work far from the distractions of the outside world. And yet here you stand. Now it's so damned important that you dive all the way to the bottom of the bleeding tempest to bother me. Well, you see... Ah, the Ondo's lamp. God's curse me, empty head. I've not so much as made a start! Oh, I'm glad you like it, Neptune. I've been practicing it for a while at this point. Pretty much ever since the WoW lore run. Trying to get it better and better. I'm worth less than a sea slug. Nay, a slime left by a sea slug. My delivery bait's long past. My workbench is untouched. And I call myself a bleeding artisan. You've heard their beliefs, have you? Bringing the light to the ruins will be an act of deep religious and cultural significance. And it was my privilege to be a craftsman, to be tasked with providing a ritual instrument worthy of the occasion. But I just can't bloody well. Ugh, my mind's a bleeding blank. It's like I've pissed away my last drop of inspiration. Tell me you've got something to show me. Something that'll give me a muse and the right good kick up the arse. The Ondo want to honour the coming of these ancients, so the answering light's got to blaze with just the right kind of brightness. Like the sparkle I've got in the crystal. But just being sparkly's not enough. It's got to dance with joy and sorrow and sense of hardship endured. You know what I mean? Grendalt seeks a particular kind of inspiration, the kind that crystallizes only at the culmination of a long and tragic tale. Therefore, go do a role quest, or you will not be able to continue the main story quest. Now, I'm not sure I like this. Hear me out for a second. So, as I've talked about before, the way it's worked up until now is you've got class quests, one for each class. There's the 1 to 30 for the old quests. Then there's the 30 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70. Each one of those is a separate quest. Sometimes it may reference or have some elements from the previous arc, but each one is effectively a new story. You with me so far? And all of that is, well, most of those are good stuff, and stuff that I actively want to do and actively enjoy. There is, in fact, a reason I pushed my way to 50 on everything. It's because I wanted to see the story quests. But it's never been mandatory. The only thing that's ever mandatory is do the quest to unlock the class, and that's it. This is now mandatory, and that's the part where I'm just kind of like... And I'm not sure what I think of that. I would do it anyways. I would even do it on stream anyways. Locking content behind it feels like the kind of thing I don't like. Like the kind of thing I would generally be against. This is the wrong place. I didn't mean to go here. Yeah, Dark Knight is a good quest arc. I agree. Dark Knight is good stuff. Here, I think? Nope. Ah, there it is. Ah yeah, that's another thing. I'm sorry, I should mention, quite a few of those quests also prevent you from procuring skills. Now, that's no longer a thing, at least unless there's skills I'm not even seeing here. But I don't remember the specifics anymore. There are certain specific skills that you get as a reward for doing the class quests. And that was basically the old encouragement for doing the class quests. In addition to the story thing, you know. Yeah, the Astrologian story arc was not one I was particularly fond of. Looking at the list, so Paladin... Warrior was funny. Dark Knight was great. I really liked Dark Knight. I obviously haven't seen Gunbreaker yet. White Mage was so-so. Scholar was actually pretty good. I liked Scholar. Astrologian was just eh. Monk was probably the worst one of all the ones I've seen. Dragoon was good. I liked Dragoon quite a bit. Ninja I would have liked if it wasn't so typical, which I know sounds strange. But, like, I've always said that tropes are not necessarily a bad thing, and cliches are not necessarily a bad thing. But Ninja was pretty damn cliched. Samurai was good. Bard was kind of normal. Machinist, I actually liked Machinist, which, I mean, it's also pretty cliche, but I did actually kind of like Machinist. Haven't done Dancer. Black Mage was good. I liked the Black Mage arc. I liked the Summoner arc, which I guess is the same as the Scholar, really. I liked the Red Mage arc, and obviously Blue Mage I haven't really done. And those are the ones I've seen to date, obviously all the way up to 50. I have done the Astrologian arc up to 70, the Paladin arc up to 70, and the Red Mage arc up to 70. So now we're going to do this one, which will not be voice acted because of course it fricking won't. But at least we get to work with the dwarves. Get a little liquid in me here. Oh, I agree, Darren. I don't think there's a particularly best option here. It's just... I haven't decided, Rax, is the truthful answer to that. The thing I was thinking is I kind of don't want to, but you could probably guess why. Excuse me. Oh, there's actually 3 reasons why. Now, I actually agree with Remedy's Exion completely. I've never agreed with class quests not having voice acting because they're good quests. Well, they're main quests. They're main content, in my opinion. And now, they are literally main content. You have to do this. Give it voice acting. I get it. I get it. Voice acting is expensive and time consuming. I do understand. I don't care. You're Square Enix. Make it happen. Don't you know better than to sneak up on a dwarf mid-flogging? Not even a proper greeting neither. Look here. Lolly-ho. The name's Giot. What the who? No, I'm gonna do it. Lolly-ho. God, that looks so dumb. On an elf. So now that's a greeting. Lolly-ho's aside, just who are you anyway? I dare say I'd remember someone like yourself if we'd ever met. How so, Remedy's Exion? Oh, you're from the same strange land as the Crystal Exarch, you say? Well. He's an odd sort, the Exarch is. He knows things, right? And he's got some sort of mystical power. I don't suppose you're the same, are you? Because I could use someone with the power the likes of which the world has never seen. I'm hunting senators, you see. Well, one in particular. Yeah, I got your back. I'm a healer, and a crap one, because I'm an astrologian who sucks at this game. A healer, and not half bad at the job. No, I am literally half bad at the job. And I wish I could take your word for it, since you sound like just what I'm looking for, but I'm going to have to ask you to prove it. There's no need for that. Listen here, the senator I'm hunting isn't your average abomination. You can't blame me for wanting to make sure I'm not leading you to your grave. It'd be bad for both of us. So you get yourself over to the Forest of the Lost Shepherd. We'll see what you've got. Okay. Out of curiosity. It doesn't matter. It requires 80, right, to finish those quests? These quests, I should not clarify. Yeah, that's what I thought. Bleh, as they say. I mean, I really hate to give a negative to this game, since, you know, what we talked about yesterday. But I honestly do think this might qualify. This is a nice, big, long chunk of gameplay that is main story mandatory. That is story, like main story in my opinion, that has no voice acting whatsoever. I don't know. What do you guys think? Real question. Everything is purple. Everything is purple. See, in case you haven't heard my argument, the reason I say it's main story, in addition to main story quest, is the same argument I would give to Mass Effect 2 for the companion quests, which are not main story, but I would argue are main story. You follow? They're not mandatory to finish the game, but in my opinion they are meat. They are the central content you're there for, right? Anyways. Oh, Lord, glad you found the place all right. Now, for the prey. See, this is why I'm asking, Dream Whisperer. That'll do. But it's not mandatory, Pillars of Snow. I've heard people argue that many times. No, I just need to take a deep breath and... Hey, your mother was a hobgoblin! And yeah, I'm not going to read all that out loud. Holy crap. Giot? Ugh. Save me, Zero. Save me. I guess you're actually saving Giot, but whatever. He deserves to be saved. Giot is the dwarf we deserve. Not the dwarf we need. I reckon I broke 3 or 4 ribs and 1 femur there, but my bones feel just fine now. Better than the before, actually. And that beast gave you no trouble. Seems you're just what I'm looking for, after all. We could have tested this many other ways. I could talk about the rest back at the Crystarium over a drink or 3. The folks at the Wandering Stairs know how to keep 'em coming. Meet me there. Okay, sure. See, that's why I'm debating at Rasalisu. If I was... Okay, so let me go ahead and give my opinion. There are quite a few chunks of what I would consider significant story in this game that are not voiced, and that detracts from my enjoyment in it. I can give several examples right off the top of my head. All of the main raids, all of them, like, we have no voice acting for the Crystal Tower. We have no voice acting for the Abyssal whatever arc. We have no voice acting for Alexander. We have no voice acting for the Evilise thing, you know? All of those are fairly substantial story arcs. And they have 0 voice acting. Right? I mean, so, if I was reviewing this, I'd have to debate heavily there. But to be clear, I don't like that. What is that person wearing? Yeah, Omega, that's another really big one. The Void Ark, that's the one I was thinking of earlier. Most of Coil. Eden, apparently, which, I mean, yeah, I believe you. And then there's the many, many class quests. There ain't nothing like a flog of the veil after a well-earned victory. Did you hit your head? Oh yes, and hard. Oh, that beast gave me a trouncing. Really exceeded my expectations, as did you. Whatever you want to call what we just did, though, it helped us understand each other sure enough. I'm seeing that you're a masterful fighter, and you learned that I'm fearless as a stone, and kind of crap in a fight. So a fellowship is forged. Now that I'm sure you won't get yourself killed, I can tell you about the Sin Eater I'm after. It's one of the so-called cardinal virtues. Sophrosine. That's a nasty piece of work. Each of these virtues look like one of those fools who brought the flood upon us, but this one takes after the worst of the bunch. Lamet. Disgrace to all dwarven kind. Knowing that one of our own people was the warrior of light is bad enough, but Sophrosine not being out there looking all dwarf-like, well, it don't help matters. A cursed thing. The Council of Elders, they just don't want to live with the shame of Lamet's sins no more. So the head of the council, the eldermost elder, stay with me here, gave me the job. Hunt down the Sophrosine, slay it. See that it don't keep sullying our good name. Thank you, Mashiach. I'm our strongest warrior, so if anyone's going to do it, it has to be me. That's fine. I'm more than up for a contest of might. Problem I have, though, is Sophrosine just keeps healing itself, and it's deeply annoying. I suppose it's because Lamet herself was some kind of master of the art, but Sophrosine's healing is so powerful. No matter how hard I whack it, I can't leave a scratch. To make matters worse, it also flies around, carefree as you please, resurrecting other Sin Eaters. We'll be up to our eyeballs in him forever if we can't do something about his curative powers. And that's where you come in, alright? She doesn't deserve your scorn, you know. Listen, I know you have your own ways, and that's just fine. But whether you care for dwarven honor or not, you have to agree a Sin Eater that can raise its fellows from the grave is a danger to us all. As for Lamit, you should know that being a dwarf is about respecting tradition. And she never did. Never. You might not have heard, but the tales say Lamet roamed the land without her helmet. She willingly showed her face to all those who weren't kin. She knew full well it would dishonor her and us all, but she did it anyway. Then there's the part about bringing the doom on the world. Not one of our taboos, really, but it's generally frowned upon. Now she's back, barefaced to the world, a Sin Eater. What could make a dwarf go so wrong? But we have ale to drink and Sin Eaters to hunt, in that order. You healed my body, sure enough, but I need a few more flagons to restore my vigor. By a few, I mean about 100. Come find me later. Yeah, give me a sec. I have to really push myself to do this accent, because I want to do it really well. I guess we're done. Okay, so World of Warcraft's voice acting. Let me start by saying that if you were to draw a graph of it, the content, the quality and quantity of voice acting has risen with every expansion. Vanilla, there was hardly any voice acting at all. Then BC, they started doing the dungeon thing. I've mentioned that, where dungeons and raids were considered MSQ for a while. So those were voice acted. Then they started doing a few specific scenes out of that for major story quests in Wrath. Then a huge chunk of stuff was voice acted in Kata, and then even more in Pandaria, even more in Warlords, even more in Legion, and yes, BFA has the most voice acting we've ever had in WoW. Of all my many complaints about BFA, that is not one of them. Now, in BFA, obviously WoW's structure is different when it comes to its quest content. But as of BFA, the stuff that's voice acted is what I call the regional quests. So that's the zone quest, right? So all of that is voice acted. The main line through a zone is voice acted. The major events, you know, like the overarching thread throughout the expansion, that's all voiced. So the main story quest equivalent. All dungeons are fully voiced. All raids are fully voiced. All of the soul-only stuff is fully voiced. And I think that's actually it. But you can see how that is a fairly large percentage of the content at this point in time. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that at some point the FF14 will basically get to the same point that WoW has recently reached. Ah, that's true. The war campaign is not. I actually forgot about that. Now, this is a good parallel, actually. The war campaign is arguably main story content in WoW, and it is not voice acted. And I hate that. It actually pisses me off how it's not voice acted. And I would probably give that a story negative because of how critical it is to the story. And that brings us right back to these quests, doesn't it? To be clear, for those of you not aware, the war campaign is basically the FF14 equivalent of patch content. So you finish leveling, you do all the zone stuff, you do all the moving through stuff, you know, and then you hit 80 or 110 actually. You hit the max level, and then you get the war campaign arc, and it's the main story of the war continuing on after you've hit max level. It is effectively MSQ. And it's not voice acted. At all. It's not inconsistent, it is just completely absent voice acting. With the exception of like 3 or 4 cutscenes. Like if you've ever seen the CGI cutscene where Sarfang, Varrock, goes out to Outland to talk to Thrall, spoilers, that's part of the war campaign. Rescuing Bane from Sylvanas, that's part of the war campaign. Anyways. Well, when you finish it, there is a cutscene. There's a cutscene? I was about to say there's a cutscene scene. There is a voice-acted scene that actually does talk about your options and what you're going to do and blah, blah, blah. But otherwise, no. I do get it. Don't mistake me. I understand the problems with full voice acting. I really do. Especially if you want it to be good voice acting, which you do. As I've said many times, bad voice acting is worse than no voice acting. However, again, I just find a really hard time caring. Because this is Blizzard, Activision, and Square Enix. These are not small companies, you know? Now, that being stated, though, I want to give a personal thought on the matter. Like I said, if I was to review BFA, I would give it a negative for the war campaign not having voice acting. Because it really pisses me off. I'm not sure if this deserves one. So maybe this is why people think I'm so negative, is because I spend more time deliberating on negatives than I do on positives. I don't spend 10 minutes sitting and debating, well, that scene was awesome, plus the story. I just do it, and everyone's like, yeah. I'm going to not read these out loud. Yeah, exactly. Either sure or nope, and that's about all the feedback I tend to get on positives. You know, it's funny. I'm sure you've heard me say this before, Rax, but that is the exact same problem WoW had for years. Up until Wrath, actually. Funnily enough, Wrath is a lot of people's favorite expansion. I agree the quality of FF14 has demonstrably gone up. Even though I didn't care for the story in Stormblood, and I didn't, the game still did feel better in Stormblood than it did in Heavensward, than it did in ARR. What were they spending the money on between Villain and Wrath? Bankruptcy debts for... oh, I can never think of that. Vivendi. That's the name of the company. Pretty much literally throwing them into through a hole that's on fire for all that it was accomplishing. Whoops. Thank you, Zira. I was not ready for combat. No, you're right, Nevermore. As I've made the point several times, with exceptionally rare circumstances, nobody ever raises a fuss if I give out a positive. At best, they tend to disagree. When I raise up a negative, that's when people make noise. Look, that's like an actual named or whatever. It's also amusing looking. That's a mount? What? That's true, Ketabo. Well, if I could see how much health it has, I could decide whether or not Zira has a chance to kill it. Oh, it's a quest. Ah, it's a hunt. Oh. Hello. Yeah, I think he's got this. See, that's part of why I'm debating this one so much, Rax. On the one hand, I do think the absence of voice acting for what I consider main story is a bad thing. It detracts from my enjoyment of the game. The core definition of a negative, right? On the other hand, Square Enix is not exactly doing badly financially, and this is a bit of a cash cow game. On the other hand, up to 3 hands now, it is worth noting that the voice acting, both quality and quantity, has been getting better. Like, I'm actually pretty impressed with the voice acting in this expansion. I have no hesitation in saying that. I've technically given 3 pluses to voice acting for this game so far, for the expansion, I mean. On the other hand, this game sucks. I can't even say it without coughing. It would be interesting to see the actual financial data, see how much net profit this game pushes out. Like, if you take out... where does the other funding go? That is a good question. I mean, we do know some was shunted off to 15 and to Kingdom Hearts 3. But to my knowledge, we don't know where else the funding's going these days. If you want to, Rax, go for it. I would be curious to learn what they're doing. Oh, hello. Is someone actually doing that? Damn it. Barely gonna get involved here. I was gonna say, I'm sure their mobile games are making the bulk of their money. which is something that I could go off on for probably hours. And hours. And hours. Let me just summarize my thoughts in core. Now, I don't know if Square is doing this or not. But one of the things that pisses me off most that corporations tend to do, and have been doing for ever, like going back into the 1000s, is they'll start making more money, and they won't cycle that money back into the company. That money will just go into people's pockets to make them richer. And I hate that. It's always bothered me on several levels. As an economist, as an individual, as a fan of fictional works and products, it's always bothered me that so often money that is made will be siphoned off into garbage, basically. It's something that doesn't add anything to anything. It just makes someone... And that's the thing that even makes it worse. Yes, like Bobby Kotick is a good example of this, to be blunt. Those extra millions he makes are nothing to him. It's a few extra zeros at the end of a large bank account. I mean, figuratively speaking. It's just, it's keeping score at that point. Hey, Bobby, we were just talking about you. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Well, that startled me. Thank you very much, Indiana Joe. Much appreciate the sub, as ever and as always, sir. I don't even have the document up. No one's put any money to anything today. So if you give me just a moment. Indiana Joe 24, RE4. So noted. Thank you again, Indiana Joe. But anyways, point being, blah. Moving on. See, this is the kind of cutscene that should be voice acted if this was main story quest. It's not, because none of these are. Uh-oh, the Void Scent has arrived. Oh, she does look like a Void Scent. Holy crap. There's something messed up about this, by the way. Hi, Samurai Jack. The idea that the old heroes... that Sin Eaters based on the old healers... Sin Eaters based on the old heroes are running around, and I'm assuming the other classes are like this as well, basically mimicking their core function as Sin Eaters. Which is just messed up. I mean, Lalafell are awesome, but I never play one. I prefer being as tall as possible. What a lonely place to die. The world outside is even worse than I feared. Is someone there? Oh my god, it's Ardbert. You're alive? Well, why didn't you say so? I can't do much for the dead, but the living, I got you back. But that's different, Valvedrix, and I've explained why. The Assurant animations are awesome. Like, really good. Probably better than basically all the other races. Can't believe it, my wounds are healed. Thank you, kind stranger. You're lucky I passed by. You might have really died, you know. You'll hear no argument from me. I was a fool. The thought that the hobgoblin I was after might have my friends lying in wait never so much as crossed my mind. Shouldn't have been out here alone. If you imagine to keep me fighting, though, their numbers wouldn't pose a problem. What do you say? You don't look to have a party of your own yet, and I could certainly use a man like you on my side. Yeah, Ardbert is so generic. I am no man. Tell you what, I'm Lamit, proud daughter of the Thal family. If I catch you mocking me again, I'll put you right back the way I found you. Yes, ma'am, I didn't mean to offend. The beard misled me, you see. What? No, please, don't kill me. Well, this is interesting, because I've seen this thing before, Rax. But there's another graphic that covers their mobile market. And I remember it because it pissed me off. And thus did Ardbert meet Lamit. Lamit? I don't know. They don't say it, so I don't know how to pronounce it. They met Dwarf Lady. Did he just taunt me to awakeness? Or is he taunting the enemy? What is the matter with you? A refreshing round of insults always cheers me up. It's odd, you said she was wearing a helm, and she helped out the injured traveler just like any dwarf of honor would do. Maybe she wasn't born a monster, but then... it don't sit right with me neither. But standing around here wondering about it won't do anything but make us thirsty. Let's go back to the Crystarium. Okay. Part of the problem, I have to admit, yes, is... Let me use a parallel. I want you to imagine for a moment that Mass Effect 2's party companion quests, see you around Dakota, were not voice acted. I feel like I don't even have to say anything else. I feel like that makes my point very concisely. In short, it's not just the fact that this is literally MSQ. It's the fact that this is main content, which I'll admit is a vaguely defined concept, but I would consider the class stuff main content, as I've said before. I actually found the literal quarterly report from Square Enix. Unfortunately, it's a little bit nonsensy. I'd have to take some time to translate this into something real. Like, I could tell you, for example, that their gross profit for the last quarter was 27,245,000,000 yen. What's interesting is they don't actually list net. Oh, they do. They do list net profit. Holy crap. There it is. 4.122 billion yen. So that's like $4 million, I think? Something like that for net profit, which is not a lot. That doesn't make sense. No, that does make sense. Yeah, you see why I've been... you see why I'm still tossing this one around in my head, Rax. I mean, yeah, Fallout 3 is a fully voice-acted game, so is Fallout 4 for that matter. A Bethesda game, of all things. In fact, for that matter, Oblivion is a fully voice-acted game. Think about that for a second. But by the same comparison, Morrowind was not. Now, there's reasons for that, but point remaining. That is true, Darth Tyron. Unfortunately, they don't break down their expenses in the quarterly report. Did he literally just say I look like I've leveled? Wow. Yeah, so for example, it lists marketing, marketing and administrative expenses in one bundle, which is 22 billion yen. The operating expenses are 7 billion yen. That could mean a lot of different things. I would love a fully voice-acted Zelda game. Something like Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, one of the really story-heavy games. God, he's drinking again. I know what you're thinking. Oh, that Giot. Always down in one ale or another, you think to yourself. And so good at it, too. I'm uncontrollably jealous. I just can't take anymore. And you quietly weep on the inside. I'm sympathetic, I am, but my drinking's important. No, indispensable. Dwarves get fiercer the more they drink. Really fuels the fire within. This is... Oh, God, I can't do math all of a sudden. April, May, and June of this year. That's the quarterly report. I had to think about that for a second. Yes, net profit at 4.122 billion yen, right there. Now, they also have to pull out a couple of other things, such as comprehensive income, foreign adjustment, readjustment of benefit plans, and other comprehensive income, which actually brings that down by another 134 million yen. Whoop! Going completely the wrong way. You want me to drink... Drink the Mordswell? Options? Yeah! Or, oh, hells no! What do you think I should do? But unfortunately, yeah, this doesn't tell me what I really want to know. This takes into account equity, comprehensive income, assets, non-controlling interests, payable interests, short-term loans, income taxes, all sorts of other random crap that doesn't actually mean anything, really, for what we care about, at least. We do know there's sales, but we don't know what, like, where that's divvied up. I'm gonna go with, oh, hells no! A feeling of foreboding, be it an effect of the echo or something more instinctual, overpowers you when you so much as look at the contents of the bottle. You decide to abstain and make up an excuse to tell Giot later. Very good, very good. Only Mord enjoy our brew. No one else ever drank it as much as that dwarf. Thank God. I don't know what to answer that with, Disco. It's basically a minor miracle. But then again, at the same time, if they were smart with their initial investment funding, they should be good for several years hence, despite sales, so... Fair enough, Frax. Oh, well. What? What? Someone actually doing that? Nope, that's not a player. Sucks to be him. Oh god, I passed it? I passed it. Ah! Sorry, I'm looking up investor stuff on the side here. This mount? It is very cute, but I will freely admit, if not for the fact that this was a gift from Rax, I probably wouldn't use it nearly as much. It's also worth noting I don't have the mount I want, so I tend to have the mentality of, if I can't have what I want, then who gives a damn? So... You get the idea. I drink a lot of kill stuff. You have to admit it's an effective strategy. I mean, that's a interesting matter of debate there, but okay. Now that's interesting. So I did find something that lists up the quarterly market based on region. Their highest sales is actually in the United States for Square Enix. Of their 1.81 million, 1.43 of that was North America. That's interesting. Not surprising, but interesting. Now, that does not count digital sales. It's worth noting. That's a separate category. So, healing magic can't heal Sin Eaters because they're not really alive to be healed. So, that means Sophrosine's power isn't like healing. Or isn't healing, it's just like healing. Also, why resurrect some Sin Eaters and not others? Yeah, I don't know, Recursive. As ever, I do feel it's a little bit frustrating trying to get accurate information on some of this stuff. Then again, I imagine the corporate people themselves have some irritation with that. Make zero mistake. Make no mistake. Money people know all this stuff that we're talking about. I guarantee you with absolute certainty that the accounting departments and the financing departments know exactly what money is coming from where, how, and why, as well as where it's going. At least at any company that's worth a damn. That is a long-standing concept. The people who actually keep track of the money keep very careful track of the money. It's, here in the States, one of the biggest problems that's faced corporate America, this is mostly back in the 90s, was trying to be a manager or an executive and getting accurate financial information out of your financing department. I'm sorry, the Mort stuff's alright, but this here is a fine ale. At least that's what my body tells me, and I always listen. That's how I keep my muscles primed and my spirits high. Remember, guys, drink lots of alcohol and your muscles will get bigger. Speaking of, would you kill you to relax a little? Being so serious all the time can't be good for you. And silent staring just makes you seem morose. I won't kill Sophrosine any faster for not drinking, that's for sure. Nothing comes easy to sober folks. God. So, 3 more, probably. I think this is my final point for why these should be voice acted. These aren't very long, and there's not a lot of dialogue for them. So, relatively speaking, this would not be as much content to voice act. This is in addition to the fact that there's only 4 of these instead of 20, or whatever we're up to at this point. Okay, I gotta read that one out loud. I'd ask if you're here for a drink, but I know you ain't. You've got that serious look about you, as usual. I've got my usual here, too. My 5th round of it, in fact. Why so few, you ask? Well, I stepped away for a while to do some research, but that Morin bloke kicked me right out of the Cabinet of Curiosity and then banned me for life. Spill a wee bit of mead on the books and he chases you away with the fury of 1,000 floods. That man could use a drink, if you ask me. Yes, they did, Recursive, that's true. Although, I don't actually know how much of Fallen Empire was voiced in Tor. Tyron? What's the glare for? Don't tell me you sided with him over me. We're supposed to be partners. After I worked so hard to get us no information on Sophrosine. Drank so much. Sat with those dusty tomes until not one but both of my buttocks went numb. So did you find anything? Yeah, that's what I figured. Kashi! Wonderful. You know, after what I went through at the cabinet, your complete refusal to acknowledge anything I do is kind of comforting, actually. Anyway, I did get some information from a reliable source. A drinking buddy of mine. Sophrosine was recently seen on the Raktika Greatwood. If we do some of our signature eater slaying in the forest, there's a chance we'll draw it out. I figure sitting around getting us is nowhere, and the research can only take us so far, so why not? Maybe fighting together will teach us something we couldn't learn otherwise. I can't kill it, but the two of us should be more than capable of getting a few whacks in and making an escape. Gilfa, Goana, Gilfa, Varavamata, Gilfa, Gilfa. Just Slitherbow. That's the same dwarf model from 4, and I think that's it, actually. The dwarves in 9 look completely different, although they talk the same. Why are you drinking in every zone I find you in? There you are. I didn't mention it earlier, but I've been here looking for Sophrosine before. I know most everyone in Slitherbow, actually. Sure, they seem an odd lot, with the worship and the darkness and all, but once you get to know them, share a few drinks, they're not bad, folks. Make a fine wine, too. Anyway, they've been helping me out, and it's east of here, let's go! Yeah, but the dwarven accent is so lovely. Along with the music that's currently playing. I mean, don't you wish you could talk like this all the time? Just lightly let all the words just sort of roll off your tongue as you're speaking. No, Dwarvish. Very different. Trust me. What's funny to me is dwarves are almost never different. Very, very rarely are dwarves different. Elves, there's actually quite a few different variants of elves across fiction. Like, just look at the Divinity Original Sin elves, where the elves are... Oh god, where do I start? The cannibals, first of all. It's probably the best place to start. Yeah, sure, Rax. And they also have the ability to feel the souls and last moments of the people they eat. Among other things. Oh god! Yeah, these aren't even dwarves. They're just Lalafels. Hello, Blue Walrus. Now that's even weirder, Tyron, since the main character in Tor is voiced. Like, that's a thing. Sometimes well, sometimes not. mean, male agent has a very distinct voice in Tor. It's okay, you get to feel their lives as their final moments of their life as you're eating them. Ah! I mean, you're right, Rasalisu. I don't even know what you're talking about, because it's like our angels are different, vampires are different, undead are different, elves are different. Dwarves are the same. Dwarves are dwarves. And so shall they remain, forevermore chained to Lord of the Rings, I guess. I don't know. And even he took inspiration from other things. But let's not go down the rabbit hole too far. Is this solo only? Really? Really? Let's promote Rax. Let's leave the group. Let's stab ourselves. Roll my eyes. That's solo mandatory content. Where is it? I'm nearly out of wine. You brought wine with you? Don't forget, we still need to figure out how it does what it does, so make sure you're watching, not just walloping. You weren't the first to be kicked, Cashel. I left group. Nobody was kicked. Watch closely now. I'm sorry, I just noticed Giot's last name is the Ale Forged. You know what's doubly funny is I tend to get along with most... I would get along with most dwarves in fiction. There are only a precious few exceptions to that one. Hell, some of you may or may not remember this, but when Dragon Age Origins came out, people were actually legitimately weirded... I should be healing, shouldn't I? Weirded out by how little... how relatively few similarities the dwarves in Dragon Age Origins had to dwarves. They're still basically dwarves, but yeah, there are some differences there. Like noticeable ones. Jeez, Giot takes damage. Would I get along with the Lullafels? That's a good question. There's only one Lullafel I like in the entire game. So... yes, it's totally Lollarito. However did you guess? Intelligence, dumb face. I suppose that's not fair. I always forget she exists. There are two Lullafels I like. The Sultana... What? You want... what? Oh, God. Okay. Sure, that's not an awesome thing. No, Tataru, guys. Jesus Christ, it's Tataru. I like Tataru. This hurts. But yes, Blue Walrus, you were correct. Pippin's alright. I don't dislike Pippin. Yes, do not play Astrologian. Learn from my mistake! As I've said more than once, the only real reason I kept leveling this was, first of all, I liked it back in, before. But second of all was because it was my highest level healer. Like, I know that sounds strange, but basically when I was pushing a healer, all three of my healing classes were about the same level. And at the time, I really didn't like White Mage, because White Mage at 50 is incredibly boring to me. Scholar was okay, but ultimately pretty simplistic. So I just sort of went into Astrologian, and then I forget exactly how it happened, but basically people were like, hey, we need a healer, and I'm like, well, I can bring my Astro, because I have a healer higher up. And oh, I know, Rex. We've covered this problem. But my Astrologian, I ended up taking more faith in my Astrologian because it was a more recent class. That's how that almost always works. In fact, that is how this game worked until Shadowbringers. The more recent classes are better. They're better designed. More thought was put into them. More experience was put into them. So I pushed Samurai, Red Mage, Dark Knight, and Astrologian. Oh, she had re-raise? Come on, that's just cheating at that point. Course not. Healing magic is so annoying. No offense. Cutscenes. Oh, not again. But there's a little bit of seesaw effect going on here, because honestly, once my Astrologian was my highest level healer, I was basically stuck with it because it takes so damn long to level that I didn't want to push another thing to 60. So there was no possibility to switch. It's the same exact mentality as to why I've been leveling Astrologian here. It's not because I like it, it's because it's my highest level. I've come this far, and I will claim the legacy of Ronka. You got this. Oh no, it's Birdie Man! Oh, Jesus Christ. This is a vehicle section. Okay. This is gonna suck. Alright, what do we got? Ronkin Cure. Ronkin Asuna. Ronkin Renew. I'm ready. We got this. It's time to feel what it's like to play the shortest race in the game. Yay! Whee! Wait, hang on. Slash panic. Ah! Okay, whatever. Let's go. Why do I have to pull? You guys suck. This is gonna suck. A class I'm not familiar with no macros, and no idea how the boss works. What's that one? That's Cure. Okay, so we'll do this. No, you can't play as the best race in Final Fantasy, unfortunately. Which one's 3? Ah, okay. Yeah, sure, hang on. Hello? Oh, god dang it, that's the wrong button. Hang on. Let's try to do this right. There we go. So, Star Trek Online has these Princess Peach sections periodically. Now, what's funny, and this has been an ongoing joke for a while, they seem to have the worst possible layout. Like, the absolute worst possible layout you could possibly think of. So imagine, like, you've got a phaser bank, a phaser array, a cannon, and a torpedo on front. And then one at the back, too. And, like, no set bonuses and no... Oh, God Christ almighty, I have to do this thing again. Negative to gameplay. But no, it's funny to me because not a lot of other MMOs do that, but every time you do a Meanwhile or a Princess Peach section in STO, you're just playing the worst ships, and it's actually much harder than it should be because of the fact that you're playing such a crap ship with a crap loadout. Not that I'm suggesting that's in any way related to what just happened. It's exactly what I'm suggesting. In my defense, I was complaining about that before I lost. No, I saw him say it. You'll notice I was healing him, Pillars of Snow. I was just too slow. That's all. Yeah, no kidding, Permeus. Here's a new ship. Please buy it. Please. Please buy our ship. We'll be your best friend. No. I was actually just thinking something similar, Remedies Exion. I noticed towards the end of the fight last time that he was getting hit by heal AoEs, which was like, huh. Okay. Gosh, Permeus, I'm so sorry. I got it on sale once. Skip. It'd be nice if I at least had party window for this, but, you know, whatever, I suppose. I'm actually amazed the ranged moved in for that. As I've complained about many times, the range staying too far at ranged makes it a little irritating to keep them healed. No, yeah, I agree. The AI, they've definitely upped their game with the AI. No complaints there. Oh no, the statues! I guess that's why we have 2 tanks. That's, you know what, I'm actually with you on that, Remedies Exion. They added a proper AI subroutine. I've heard that many times, Bulwarus. Before the expansion, even. I would say there's probably a very basic level of, I guess, priority when it comes to them deciding what abilities to use, Remedies Exion. This is presumption. And then there's the scripting on a per-fight basis. Which, as I've said before, is probably the most likely reason why it is that they haven't added trusts to the other stuff yet. It's because they'd have to script the trusts per fight for all of the previous dungeons and raids and etc. Listen, Dream Whisperer. Good King Mog is good King Mog. Dun 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 dun. Hullsville. Let's get what we came for. The lost restorative magic of Ronka. Mega Heal. Megaga Heal? Can you sense power in it? Yes, there can be no mistake. This is it. My only path forward. Hey, Lucas. I was debating. I take my feedback seriously. Wise Guardian, in the name of the Royal House of Ronka, I implore you, grant me your knowledge. Okay. You now have the ultimate magic, Ultima, but you have to die to get it. I did it. The spell is mine at long last. I can save my sister. I'm not going to count that one. And you will. We'll meet up with Brandon and Nilebert. We'll see you at home. God, Pillars of Snow. I haven't even seen it drop. I'm starting to question if it exists or not. Valvedrix and you notwithstanding. Oh, he of inferior beardliness, Eggface Hobson. Sin of the past is a nice trick and all, but maybe you could, I don't know, wait till we're not in mortal peril next time. Driving Sisyphine away without pulverizing you in the bargain was no mean feat. If I weren't, well, me, we'd all be dead by right now. Listen, all humans must die, Rax. I don't think that's being racist. Hope you learned something worth your trouble, at least. The ultimate spell, which I won't get, because screw me. It's called Ultima, but it really sucks unless you level up every other spell first. I'm still legitimately interested that they haven't brought back Ultima. And don't mistake me, I think it should be used very, very sparingly. Because it should. If you're going to have some ridiculously powerful magic, it should be used extremely rarely. But it is still interesting that in years they still haven't revisited Ultima. Purely visually? Honestly, probably Lakeland. This one, yeah, right here. And not just because of the Crystal Song Forest vibes. Aww. Nothing goes down so well after a fight than an ale. Don't give me those eyes. Oh, there goes Giot, waxing philosophical about ale again. I'm doing this for your own good. It's plain you've never had a proper education. It's like this. You pick the right booze for the right job. Good evening, Jamalman. You've got your ale for before and after physical fights, of course. But you've also got mead for reading, wine for singing, and your hard liquor for those times when you need to tell some Hobson to go stick his head in a forge. Me? I'll be switching to mead. I'm thinking I might find something about what happened to Lamet's sister if I look through the old village's annals. And hopefully I can get my hands on some historical records of Ronka, modern be damned. I don't know what you'll be getting yourself into while I'm at it, but if you make sure to bring the right drink for the job, I'll let you know when I've got something worth pursuing. Predictably, Giot is drinking. I'd be okay with Ultima never being in the hands of the player. I mean that sincerely. I know this is the classic parallel, but I've always thought of Ultima as a nuclear weapon, effectively. And as much as I preach about the idea of how powerful we are, not that type of power. Like, most of our power comes to our resilience, our skill, our ability to endure, you know, not a lot of it is raw strength, is what I'm trying to say. Obviously, some of it is, but not a lot of it. I don't like the idea of being able to cast Ultima as a player. Especially not as it was presented. Like, imagine... As much as I hate the MSQQ, and everyone in the world does, I want you to picture what it would be like if that went off every time you cast Ultima. And it also had friendly fire on. Anyways, there you are. I need less mead. You heard me, less, but more ale. Wait, you ain't the waitress. If you guys go want to do a dungeon with Tyron right now, go for it while I'm doing this. Oh, I know you want to say something, but you won't. You think that'll just encourage me? Then maybe that's what I want you to think, or maybe... You know that's what I want you to think. All this time I thought I was annoying you, but actually, no, it can't be. All this rubbish about lost civilizations must be getting to me. I've read a dozen histories and I still don't know nothing about the magic of Lamit. What I did find, though, is where she would have gone if she wanted to see her sister. And it's in Tomra. So what do you say? Come visit me in my home. Now that I could see Wilbo Baggins. Excuse me, Baggin. Giving us a fourth limit bar for very specific fights. Like if we fight, I don't know, Elidibus. You know, he's probably one of the biggest villains we have right now. And in that fight, and only in that fight, we can get 4 limits. And it just ultimas him in the face. That might actually be kind of cool. Still making it a spell, but making it limited to a story-specific fight. Rassalisa is also true. Like, even if you're paying attention, Ultima was the big thing in 2. That's when Ultima was invented. And then it bowed out for 3 and 4. And 5. Came back for 6. And in 6, it was the ultimate magic. In 7, it was a pretty good magic. In 8, it was kind of there. In 9, it was all of a sudden mega awesome again, but only the villain could use it. And in 10, it was a really crap spell. So I get the impression that 9 being the exception, because 9 was the callback, that they've been trying to pare down Ultima over the years, and, like you say, just kind of wipe it away eventually. I may have forgotten to tell Lore how to get here. That's unfortunate. To think of it, I'm not sure he can get here. Tunnel's only for dwarves and... Oh, Lore, where'd you come from? Yeah, I used the ladder. So it is you folks that got the ladder moving. Huh. Can't believe you managed that. You didn't even tell me. Just when you think you know a person. Yes, that's a joke. Anyhow, place I want to show you is just over there. Follow me. That's true, Remedy's Exion. Interesting way to tie in Ultima and the person and Ultima the spell, actually. Fun fact, some friends of mine came up with a method of trying to distinguish when talking about Ultima the person and Ultima the spell. So they called her Ultima. Whereas the spell was always Ultima. What the... So if you ever hear me say Ultima, it's because I'm screwing up and saying it on accident. Nothing to worry about. This monstrosity came flying at my face rudely, I might add, when I unsealed the old tunnels, but everything's under control. As you can see, I gave it an old-fashioned dwarven decking. A what? Sorry, I ain't at liberty to explain further. It's forbidden to reveal the secrets of the dwarven deck to outsiders. Anyway, I brought you here for something more important than that. Let me explain. We don't use it no more, but before the flood, dwarves lived in this place, only the sick ones mind. In those days, there was this illness called stone blight. Turned your skin to stone, bit by bit. It was just a matter of time. Few months, few years, and you were petrified completely. Yeah, it's like fighting Valvalus all over again. No one knew where it came from, but they did know it was contagious, so they locked them all up, here in the Blight Wardens. They needed to keep it from spreading because there was no cure, not back then. Obvious leprosy analogy. Allegory? I'm getting a lot of these, aren't I? And yeah, I remember the Ultima thing in 10-2, and remembering it was completely not worth the effort. I almost never did the dress sphere hopping thing unless I was showing off in 10-2. Lamate, was it not enough to leave without permission, or return unbidden? Bringing the strangers to our home, you know full well entering the Blight Ones is forbidden. How many of our traditions must you trample before you're satisfied? If you so refuse to respect your heritage, you have no place here. As head of the council, I hereby banish you. You are no longer a dwarf. Be gone. Never return. Ah, politics. You lost your wits. Lamit just cured your people. Her sister and all the others. She left your village to find a way to save them, and she did. She did what no one else would. Your words have no weight here, outsider. This is a dwarven matter. Silence. Silence. I will not be silent. You have no idea what Lamit has been through. That's enough, Albert. Whatever my reasons, I did break our laws, and I did so knowing this would be the result. I will accept my punishment, and I leave my dwarven pride behind today. If Lamit's leaving, so am I. You probably didn't think much of us after you shoved us here to die. But it was awfully hard to breathe. We all took our helms off. If Lamit's going to be banished for breaking traditions, then I should be too. As the young lady says, none of us is perfect. It ain't right Lamit should be the only one punished for it, especially seeing as she was saving us. Come on, exiles. We keep our faces plain for all to see, and our heads held high. I mean, this is very touching, but why have I never seen Lalafels with their faces exposed? Hello, Sonic Doctor. Sure you're alright with this? We could go back. We could... What? Pummel the elders with your axe? Yeah, I'd suggest that. All in favor? I know you're not that fledgling adventurer who got knocked flat by Hobbs anymore. You could probably defeat even our strongest warriors. But forget it. Yes, Dream Whisperer. We have more important things to worry about. We still haven't found out what causes the illness in the first place. If it really is the Shadow Keeper again, well, you know what we have to do. What the heck is the Shadow Keeper? If that's what it takes to save our world, I will give up my home and more, Ardbert. Anyway, it's not all that bad. I don't think I really understood before how beautiful it is out here, how nice the wind feels. Well, who brings the shadows then? Never mind. It is nice, isn't it? What it's worth, I'm glad you're here. Helmet or no. Alright, thank you. No matter what happens, don't ever become a villain and try to kill the Warrior of Light, okay? Dun, 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 wah, 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 wah. Let me guess, that's the one where I have to do all the role quests? Hey, Hobson! Ugly! Look, I'm running out of insults here, and I'm starting to feel bad. Just wake up already. Finally. Well, that was heroin, but as soon as you started doing your thing, that Cindy decided to start rising from the dead. Well, I suppose that's mostly my own fault for not dealing with the extra blow or two just in case. Anyhow, what'd you see? Explain, explain, explain. I know it. I knew it was Lamit who cured the Stormblight. It had to have been. She saved all of them, and they exiled her for it. And the head of the Council of Elders. Therefore, it's time to kill them. All of them. With my fat chocobo. Step, 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 step. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can watch. Yeah. Oh, I missed. Hang on, let's try that again. Yeah. Yep, no. Totally dead. Not that that's a good thing. Sorry, suppose I wandered off. Got caught up in my own thoughts. Actually, can you give me a moment? Or maybe a while? I'm just not sure what to think is all. I don't want to keep you from your work, so I'll see you later. Here, have a masala chai. Oh, you're back. It's been a long time. Oh my god, the quest... the quest description is Giot isn't drinking. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, hello there, Laura. Yeah, you hammer-brained imbecile. Your mother was a hobgoblin. Some of that may be accurate, but my mother most definitely was not a hobgoblin. Are you sure you ain't getting confused with your own mother? Hammer-brained. Never thought the day I'd see you take the friendly insult, partner. That really helped, thanks. I was so busy dwelling on the business of Lamit, I forgot I had news for you about Sephrosine. You remember the Sin Eater I killed in the Blight Warrens? Well, while you were gone, Sephrosine showed up to revive it. Seeing that you convinced me... Well, or seeing that convinced me. I mean, you remember how I was wondering why Sephrosine don't revive every Sin Eater we take down, right? Well, we learned from your vision the dwarves that Lamit cured of Stoneblight all went into exile of their own village. Yeah, I actually saw this coming. This is really messed up. As you can see, the village was spared the worst of the flood, but the folks that left, well, probably weren't, which means... Yeah... Right, it's the only thing that makes sense. Those poor souls couldn't go back to the village, so they got caught in the flood and became Sin Eaters. The Sephrosine is still saving them, even now. Well, that gave me an idea. As we figured before, Sephrosine isn't alive, but Lamit wanted so badly to heal those dwarves that it's following suit like a reflex its body can't forget. The last time Lamit saw those folks she healed, they were helmless, leaving their home for the last time. She probably never forgot the sight of them. So Sephrosine goes around healing helmless dwarves to this day. You see the solution, right? Helms! Incredible, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard! It sounds simple, I know, but it'll work, I tell ya. Sephrosine is healing helmless dwarves on pure instinct. Anyone wearing a helm won't think twice about, seeing as it don't actually think at all. Now, whether clapping a helm onto Sephrosine will keep it from healing itself, I cannot say. It depends on whether the thing it sees itself as just another helmless dwarf. It doesn't seem to have much in the way of self-awareness, so I think it's worth a shot. Fortunately, we won't need to wait to find out. It came around not too long before you did, so let's go kill it. Let's go. Yeah, just picture a cute, innocent, adorable Lalafell screeching violently as it pukes up light. And... you know, is just gesticulating wildly as nightmarish pain is racking its cute, adorable body. Just picture that, if you will. Or don't. I wouldn't blame you if you don't want to. I was just waiting for someone to make a joke about that. I don't get the anti-Lalafell jokes. I don't even get where it comes from. Like, it's the same thing in WoW. Everyone makes fun of gnomes. I don't get why. Oh well, time to die, with no Zero to help me. I will make this work. Or die trying. Okay. Time to die trying. Here we go. Oh, god dang, why does it keep clearing my buffs? Ah. I just want you to picture Nanamo dying a horrible death. Wait, that's actually a bad example. Let me walk that one back. Okay, picture Tataru dying a horrible death. I guess that does make sense, Valvatrix. Because Dumb Face and Idiot Face both really were pretty... Oh my god, it's Zira! Yes! My savior! I heal you out of gratitude. Oh, I'm on the wrong page to heal you. Now I can heal you. Be healed, my son. Yay! Oh, now I gotta kill more Sin Eaters. Whee! I mean, I suppose in the interest of fairness, over in WoW, gnomes are kind of psychotic. Trifling gnome, your arrogance will be your undoing. I can't do that because I have to basically go full volume to sound like him. Yeah, I'll do it as a whisper. You face Jaraxxus, Eredar, Lord of the Burning Legion. Oh, geez. I'm suddenly very glad Zira is here. This would probably really suck. No current plans, Kosi, but it is something I've been thinking about. I actually removed those plans once we ran into our 3DS problems, but now that our 3DS problems have been solved, those plans are back on the menu. But I don't have any plans, which means, like, the absolute earliest anything would happen with that would be, like, mid-next year at this point. Still, it is something I've thought about, absolutely. There's plenty of interesting stuff to cover, and those are fascinating games to look at. Excuse me. Thank you, Zero. That would have really sucked without you. A Final Unity. Let's see. Let's look this up. Star Trek Final Unity. I feel like I have. This looks very familiar, and that was when I was playing a lot of point-and-click adventure games in general. So I'm going to go with maybe. It does look familiar, so I probably at least picked it up, even if I didn't finish it. I do remember, oh, what's the other big one? Star Trek adventure game. Oh, what was it called? There was another one that I didn't actually finish until years later when I finally looked up a walkthrough, because, you know, that concept didn't exist back when I was playing it. Judgment Rights, that's it. Judgment Rights, I never finished until I finally had access to a walkthrough, because there's certain sections I just couldn't get past. Ah! It's a gnome! No wonder gnomes are hated, because they're trying to kill me. And who wouldn't hate someone trying to kill me? Do me a favor and don't, Rasalisu. Like, okay. It is really, really hard to stream older PC games. And I don't know if I can do that. Like, there was a game that was suggested as a premiere run, which I spent some time to try and get working, called Sacrifice, which I couldn't get working for streaming. What in the world is this gnome doing? And then there was another game called Star Trek Borg, which I couldn't get working either, for the same problem. I don't know if I could get a Final Unity working, but for a certain range of... Yes, Blue Walrus. For a certain range of PC games, I always say, hold off before accepting premiere runs for them. Because, yeah... PC gaming, yo. To be fair, I have thought of a way to stream Sacrifice. All I have to do is buy a second computer. I'm serious, by the way. Bit less toppling over on your part this time, if you please. Fine, fine, fine. Kickstarter games? Shovel Knight, Bloodstained. I'm sure there's others. I've only kickstarted, I think, 4 games myself, which is those 2, and that stupid Final Fantasy Tactics game that still hasn't come out, and Mighty No. 9. Those are the 4 I have kickstarted. Yes, Blue Walrus. It's kind of a pseudo RTS, except it's like you're behind the person. And you walk around, and it's like early PS2, late PS1 kind of graphics. I didn't actually kickstart FTL or Divinity Original Sin, but those would count. I don't even have repos on my bar. Hang on a second. Hang on. Let's pull that out there. And yeah, there was voice-acted dialogue. It was just a... like, I got it running, but I could not get it stream-worthy, especially since it was not only locked into full screen, but kept changing its own resolution, which completely screws with streaming. Or video capture. Same general problem. Was Stardew Valley Kickstartered? Like, I don't have a good list. Hang on, let's just pull up Google here. Best Kickstarter games. What do we got? Unsung Story. That's the one I was thinking of. The FFT one that's crap. I've never even heard of any of these. Exploding Kittens was a Kickstarter game. Possibly, but I still wouldn't have the ability to properly stream it because I'd be... Well, maybe I could do that. I don't know, is the answer to that one. Hi, Baron. That's an interesting idea. Okay. Repose. Oh my god, there's a dwarf helmet on it now. Seriously. I didn't even have repose on my bar, Neptune Satomi. In fact, it took me, and if not for the fact that he talked about specifically putting them to sleep, I wouldn't even know what he was talking about. But I remembered it, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Sure, I can do that. Switch down. Hi, good Senator. Hope work was well with you today. If it wasn't, we're gonna have to have some talk with your boss. Oh, I guess I could do that. I was waiting for him to say something. Chill here for a minute. How's your guys' day going? Everyone here likes Reese's, right? Now hear me out. What if you could walk up to your refrigerator and say, Reese's, and then a Reese's popped out? Just picture it. Picture all those Reese's that could be yours. All yours. You have the self-control to not, you know, overindulge on that, right? Seriously? More? Yeah, you'd have to walk all the way downstairs to have an infinite supply of Reese's. Woo! Congrats, Brigwin. But think, Brigwin, you could have an infinite supply of Reese's. Just picture it. Picture the glory. The great power. Technically, yes, Baron, depending on how you define this. I mean, this is literally mandatory in order to progress, so yeah, this probably qualifies as main quest. Damn it, Giot. Stop taking damage. What is with these tanks? Don't they know how to not take damage? Rax walks into his kitchen, pulls out the infinite Reese's. Ah, yes, I see now. This is the passion of my ascension. Dark chocolate Reese's? Absolutely. They've got the white chocolate ones, too. They're quite good, Rax. I got one of those, so you can get a variety pack of Reese's on Amazon, and I got it, and it came with a whole bunch of different types, including the white chocolate ones. And the bars! I didn't even know those existed. But did you know there's bars of Reese's out there? Like, I don't know how else to describe it. It's like slabs of Reese's. They're really good. Perfect. Now... hold still. No. Reeses. Dream Whisperer. Or these. Just brought up the topic, if you're wondering. The helm got even worse than I did just then. That was our last fun. I hate to say it, but this ain't going as well as I hoped. If I had even one more helm, I could try again, but... wait, we do have one more helm. What? Dramaticness. It was a girl all along. Which you'd think we could tell, their voices are distinct. But of course, if there was voice acting, we never would have figured that out. Well, well, I'm still gonna voice her like this. Looks like it's time to take this eater down once and for all. It's my incredibly cool astrologian weapon. Yeah, it's hypothetically, yeah, my character should have been well aware of this. It's just the player obviously has no way of knowing. Wait, what? What are you talking about, Reese's up there? Oh my god. Yeah, so about that lack of voice acting. Oh, I'm on the wrong bar. God dang it. Let's try this again. Listen, I'm not saying you're racist. I'm just saying you're speciesist. I mean, they do deliberately bait you by calling her Giot, which not only is a somewhat masculine-sounding name, but is literally the name of a male dwarf in Final Fantasy lore. So... Yes, this is the 80 quest. I'm wondering how much of the damage he can do by himself. I'm guessing not much. Because, you know, he sucks. She sucks. God dang it. That's gonna take me a minute. The helmets make them all sound the same. I knew it! There's only one helmet left, and it's my helmet! Is probably what actually happened. Let's go and pop that. See, I can't even joke about that one, Rax. Not today's climate. Really, Neptune Satomi? I mean, I believe you. I don't think any of us play an elf other than me. So apparently she's a red mage too. Who knew? I will be honest, I've considered every now and again popping a whatcha-fig. In fact, I think I have one. Maybe I don't. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I do have a Fantasia. I have one Fantasia on me. I've thought about popping it every now and again, but none of the other races really appeal to me. And I like being very tall. If there's another taller race that comes out that isn't big... Yeah, but I'm not a girl, Rasalisu. And I can't play a female character. That's insane. Okay, I suppose I should explain that joke. My main over in World of Warcraft is a female character. And yeah, my shepherd was female. Although that's not me playing a character. That's a known character based on a real-life friend. Ex-friend at this point, but still. She was undead, that's true. But yeah, the long and the short of it is, I just don't like any of the other races that much for me personally. None of them really appeal to me. Now, if they came out with playable Moogles... I'm just saying, that would be legitimately tempting. Yeah, they'll never do that, ever. But I would actually think about that. Then again, I'm the weirdo who would actually roll a Murloc over in WoW if that was an option, so grain of salt. Evolution Moogles would be even better. Those are actually probably my favorite Moogles across the franchise. Although the FF9 ones come pretty close. No, we haven't seen any Moogles at all in this expansion. And we probably won't. Apparently there is a Moogle here. Never mind. I have not seen a Moogle in this expansion. Let me be more accurate. I have, Bobby, and it looks pretty interesting. Oh, hey, there's the spell. Please tell me I get the spell. Okay, that's terrifying. Still doing the deep male voice. Take that, you pissed bastard. I actually was worried that it would. I mean, I was full on hell, so it shouldn't have killed me, but... What do you got there, Lord? Some kind of crystal? Indeed. Tradition wouldn't have saved her. That's why I left. I left, and I traveled. I met Ardbert, found our companions. Together we searched. Are you her? The meat? Listen, I called you a disgrace before, and my journey was not an easy one. To save my sister, and to save them all, I faced 1,000 foes. I know. I understand now, and I'm so... But as I did, I learned how wide this world is, how beautiful, how cruel, and how much I wanted to protect it. Perhaps it would have been easy for me then, to give up my home forever for a greater cause. It wasn't. It hurts so much. But you bore it, you forgave them, you survived. Yes, it hurt, but I survived. Because they were there, because he was there. Ah, Ardbert, you stubborn idiot. You sweet boy, you never did understand what you meant to me. Well, rest well, Lamit. You were the best of us. I only have 3 million gil. I also don't spend it on basically anything. I did it. I can hardly believe it. This calls for a drink, don't you think? If that silence is you wondering if I want to go home, well, I can't. Showed my face to you, didn't I? Broke our rules. So I'm thinking I'll give Lamit's way a try. Live proud as an exile. It's like all the other folks she's saved. Ah, don't make that face. It's nothing a little ale won't solve. If they ever add housing to Ishgard, that'll be the first time I will consider buying a house. Or if they let me buy an airship. Which basically nothing has ever done in any MMO ever. Even though it's been an idea that's been tossed around since, like, 2002 at this point. Let me guess, they have the real estate problem. Yeah, we have airships, but I don't have an airship. I can't buy an airship house. Back in the day, that was one of the more common ideas that was being added. It was being tossed around for World of Warcraft to add a house. And Tor has ship houses and capital ship guild holds. But nothing's ever really actually done what I want. And never will. Oh, that's the stuff. I love the fake beard thing still around her. Can I help you? You're staring. Really staring. Do you know you're doing that? I'm glad you're here. Helmer, no. Looks like you finally figured out how to tell a joke. Now's the part where I stare all misty-eyed into the distance, right? Anyway, there's something I've been wanting to tell you. Firstly, well, you've been following along my crazy plans this whole time, but I never really said how much I appreciate your help with Sophrocy and Lamit. Thank you. Nod. And I think I deserve to know something else, too. You know the elder who exiled Lamit? That was my great-grandfather. He's remembered as the greatest warrior of our kind. Always wanted to be just like him. Strong, honourable, protect our traditions. But Lamit, she saved so many from suffering. This dwarf's not even be here today if she hadn't cured Stoneblight. And he took away her home. Forever. It's hard to see that as anything other than cruel. Tradition is important, but it's not the most important thing. Kindness, empathy, love. This world and the living, breathing people in it, they matter more. That's what I learned from all the folks I shared drinks with, from Lamit and from you. And I intend to keep learning. Here, in this city, my face plain for all to see and my head held high. So, you know where to find me next time you want to share a drink. I know our job is done, but you'll always have a place at my side, you hear? And I got some materia I'll never use or give to Rax. What? This is going to sound stupid, but what do you mean by traditional housing restrictions, Rax? Hang on. Okay. Where is... Really? Way up there? Yeah. Ah, the real estate problem is what you're referring to. You know, it's funny, Lotro had that problem, and then Lotro solved that problem with instancing. Hello. That's probably not worth bothering. Basically, they would add, anytime instances became full, they would simply spawn a new instance. And the new instance would be called a new neighborhood, and they would just give it a different name, and thus a different address. And so when you go to a neighborhood to go to the housing area, a menu would pop up and you'd select which instance you want to go to. And it would tell you how many houses were free and what instances and so forth and so on. It was a really good idea and completely fixed the real estate problem. Yes, Halo, you are weird. You must die. Everyone stab! Hey, don't actually do that. What FF14 does is basically halfway towards that. See, Lotra's system probably has the benefit of being a slightly better netcode, basically, under the hood. FF14's system... Oh, I say that so definitively, I shouldn't. It's possible FF14 does both spawn and despawn instances as needed. I don't know if that's true. But that's what Lotro does. I say does. I should say did. At this point in time, there's so few players that you don't really see that happening either way. One direction or the other. I've let the Undo down. This is not a character with this accent. You got there, such striking beauty. It shines with heartbreaking laughter in the transience of life, like turmoil of history made manifest. I can see the brilliance of the crystal's legacy. You'd never capture such a gleam, not if you laboured 100 years. Well, funny you say that. Yeah, it tracks. And Zira, the evil one. You can tell because of the hair. Bugger me if I don't mean to try. Where's my tools, goddamn you? I must get to work for feeling fades. Here's some more materia. I'm nowhere in the story. I've got millions of hours left. I'll probably beat the game tomorrow, assuming everything goes well. And done. Jesus, dude. I've taken the wonders of your crystal and channeled them into a new shape that befits Ondo's spiritual character. That's, interesting. Not a bad job, if I do say so myself. To come to think of it, I was this close to hanging up my hammer after studying the craft of the ancients. I went across the length and breadth of Norvent and gobbled up every scrap of craft and wisdom I could find. No matter what technique I found, my work was just no comparison. Couldn't even figure out how they put them damn buildings together. Mystery for the ages, that's what drew me here in the first place. Built me workshop, got me forges barreling, and then lost me bleeding will to craft. Thank the gods for a crystal of yours. I might never have gotten it back. I won't pry into your business, but I reckon your little miracle there has been through quite the journey they sing about. The echoes of the memory it holds just speak directly to your heart. I do not know if that's true, good Senator now. I do know it had very troubled development since Kojima was basically on his way out the door when they were making it. And that led to some very unpleasant atmosphere in the workroom. Anyways, blah, 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 blah. You now have access to the Forge. Equipment will become available based on the role quests you've completed. Woo! Unfortunately, my bags are so damn crammed. I'm this tempted to give up on crafting just to empty my bags a little more. Jesus, look at this. I have no room. No. Compare. Wow. That 430 item literally has more stats than my 450 item. That's interesting. Oh my god. It's literally Urianje's outfit. Look at it. It's literally Urianje's outfit. I'll come back to that. I don't really have the inventory space for that right now. I don't want to get rid of that. I think I can get rid of that? Yeah, I can. Can't get rid of that. That should go up there. And that's it for weapons. Actually, what's that? Oh, I could dump that. Discard. Oh, right. What happened, Liberated? If you don't mind my asking. My retainers are basically full, yes. Like, crammed full. I started deleting crafting mats as a consequence because I couldn't put them on them anymore. My people tell me of the many deeds you've performed and blah 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 blah. Your arrival as will of the ancients is you. On your suggestion, if you'll remember, Rax, because there's not really a bank per se. And converting it, like there's no guild bank I could just dump them in that one of you guys could take it from. Which is something they should take from us. Oh my god!
We offer up our light in answer.
That crystal you showed the artisan. Was it... Did it belong to one of my friends? I tried to give you a measure of privacy. No one wants a spirit looking over their shoulder every moment of the day. So tell me, if you would, how did you come across that crystal? It was Lamit's, then.
I was saying it right. It's Lamit.
Strange that I should learn such things now, after they're long gone. They were fine friends, every one of them. I didn't expect death to teach me so much. About them, about Seto, about you, about the hope that hides at the heart of this world. I've never been one for idle chit-chat, but if by some miracle I could see them all again, I doubt I would ever stop talking. I'm grateful I got to bend your ear at least. And just for that, I reckon I'll stick with you to the very end.
Apologies, we were a little late to the gathering.
Hello, Dagoff. Go off. Technically, yes. The way it works is if you try to donate to Patreon now, you actually won't. You, in fact, can't. You will be pledging an amount monthly. Now, on the 1st, which I believe is next... Oh, my God. That was the wrong button. Hang on. Let's pull everything back up. There we go. Excuse me. On the 1st, which is next Sunday, so basically next Monday, you would then be charged. Now, what I'll be doing is double-checking everyone who is an actual patron who has actually put money in next Monday, basically, and then we'll start the voting cycle.
It seems we've succeeded in gaining their trust.
The delay wasn't exactly welcome, but at least our many hands made light work. And they seemed especially impressed with your contribution. Our hero indeed.
Y'shtola was telling us those structures may date back to the age of the Ascians.
An Ascian homeland. Despite his many protestations, I never quite believed Emmett Selk was telling the truth.
Nor I. But there is no denying the evidence before our eyes. Clearly this was once a great city. A home they would see restored, no matter how many tens of thousands of years it takes.
It's a hollow dream when you think about it. Even if they manage to rejoin all the worlds, they'll never bring back the ones who were lost. But would I have done any different?
How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm fine. Ah, smash.
You have completed your devotions?
Real quick, I like how they periodically show us what we're seeing at this point, and getting across the point that we literally don't see normally right now because of our affliction. It's just a nice little touch, and I like it.
Yes. To the honored ancients have we offered up our prayers and our gratitude. You too have our thanks.
Might we trouble thee then to tell us more of the illuminated land of which thou didst lately speak?
To the west of here lies a great trench. Some days ago, a light appeared in that endless darkness. Curious, we ventured closer and discovered in the depths an entire city. The buildings we spied were akin to our own everlasting abodes, impossibly so. We understood at once the ancients had risen. There could be no doubt. Taken with terror, we retreated to the cups, and I decreed that none should enter the trench until such time as we received a sign.
Might it still be possible to reach this city of the ancients?
I am convinced you are the sign for which we have been waiting. My people will show you the way.
It's two separate ancient groups that are like, oh my god, it's totally you. You're the ancient one we've been waiting for. 3, technically. Because the Fae were kind of leaning that way too, just not as actively.
Shall we?
Oh, I try, but, you know, I'm not actually a big expert on it. I've only done a deep dive in the Metal Gear Solid series once. Chieftain bade me get you. Okay. Now it's time, at long last, to not say lolly-ho. Because I don't have the emo. Whoop, that's not the way I want to go. They're so delicious. So anyways, plus the story. Oh god. What was the name of the woman? The cat woman? Oh god, it is down. Avade. Dulia. There we go. Plus the story. For Dulia. That's not quite true. It's more like it's a plus to story for basically all of the NPCs, with one exception being well written, or interesting, or growing on you, or whatever, basically. Even Dulia's husband slowly turned from being, well, a fop, basically, into being someone interesting. Hey, Sestasha. Flashbacks, flashbacks, oh god. I am nowhere. I'm here. In hell, I think. You have everything you need. If that artisan fellow is as skilled as they say, you may have to wish to avail yourselves of his services ere we press on. Translation. Go get your friggin' gear. Emmet Silk hath made himself difficult to reach, yet every step we take bringeth us nearer to his stronghold. Let us not linger, lest the Exarch suffer for our arrival. Meeting the Ondo was fascinating. They live just like us in some respects, but act completely different in others. The way they think, the way they play. I'd love to come back here and learn more about their culture. Will the dome last that long? Probably not. During the time I've spent helping the Ondo, I've been introduced to quite a few of the local varieties of sea life. Although, sea monsters is mayhap the more apt term. Probably best to avoid them, if we can. Uh-oh. If Emmet Silk is in that trench, then we'll interrupt your dialogue. Help! 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 Oh god, that sounds horrifying, Remedy's Exion. You know what that sounds like to me? Slow. Slow heals, slow tanking, slow DPS. If Emmet Silk is in that trench, we'll have to assume he's not swimming in salt water. I wouldn't want to suddenly find ourselves at the edge of Bisnark's bubble with no air to breathe. We're on our way at last. It seems far darker down there. But I'll not start at a few shadows. We are moving as a group, right? We're all gathered. You must go down and down and down. No, that's literally what he says. Follow the wall down and down and down. Then go... Wait, hold up. Then go... northwest, west, west, west. Thanks, I guess. And there's nothing I love more than going very far into the depths. Oh, hang on. Well, time to die. Rax? Rax, no! Ah. Well, Rax is... I don't know where Rax is taking us at this point. I must trust in him. Somehow. I mean, he is driving a flying car underwater. Mark it. Sure. I want it. There it goes. Ah! Oh, yep, it is apparently, like, right here. Oh, yep, there he is. Hey, Urianger. Our guide bade us travel to the cavern floor and hence west. Yet, 'twould seem these unseemly tunnels defy such simple instruction. Rather than rely on direction alone, I suggest we scout with care and relay the path to those who come behind. It'll be fine. Maybe. So now, I guess I can just mark it. Next it wants us to go over here. I can do it. I can get on the... Ah! There we go. I love how... So Rax has this awesome armor of awesome. I have this, like, Dracula-looking thing. Zira has the cute, cool thing. And then Cashel is wearing Final Fantasy Tactics gear, which just has its own unique look. And he just looks completely different from the rest of us as a consequence. Alright. There we go. Ah, you have the choice of two routes. You can either take the long way down the south, or skip along the coral branch as Alize has done. I, for one, will be following my sister's example. Goodbye. And yeah, Valvedrix's clothes are pretty normal. Hey, who took shotgun? Fine. I'll just chill. Honestly, I should be in back anyways. I'm the tallest by far of the four of us. I agree, Rusalisa. Damn it, Rax. Whee! Take the long route? No, I got a flying car. Well, he's got a flying car. I was thinking the other day, obviously this doesn't really belong in an MMO, but I was thinking of the non-combat applications of certain FF classes. To wit, one of the scenes that's always stuck with me, in Final Fantasy IX, when you're going up Burmecia, Freya actually, what's-his-face demonstrates this too, but Freya demonstrates the ability to jump really high, just to traverse terrain. And I've always thought that would be a cool thing to just be a part of the Dragoon kit outside of combat, you know? And it got me thinking, what other kit or options would classes have out of combat? Let's see. This is the down one, isn't it? Yeah, ninja can fall from... That's... Oh, God, that looked weird. Or, like, maybe a white mage is just straight immune to diseases and viruses, you know? Or can detect them. Hang on, I see the flu flaring up over there. Like, what would a paladin have? Hello. This must be the barrier Ondo spoke of. Well, that was rather more arduous than expected. I feel a sudden rush of gratitude for the smooth roads our ancestors cut through the wilderness. 'Twas a treacherous path indeed. Now, I believe one of us needs a raise a hand to banish the next obstacle. Lore, I'd like you to do the honors. Okay. I shall use my infinite power. Well, I meant more in like a lore perspective than a MMO perspective, Valvedrix, but I get your point. Yeah, for those of you not aware, mages have tremendously better travel options. Shamans have slightly better travel options. Same with monks, actually, as well. Like as not, this tunnel will be just as perilous as the road we walked to get here. Let's all stay aware of our surroundings, shall we? Hello, Revenstig. Let's see. Ugh. On the one hand, I do like class disparity. I do. I've always liked... Well, that's not true. I have many times over changed my opinion on the difference between hyper-specialization and homogenization, but in my most recent, like, 5 years of gaming, I have become far more preferable to hyper-specialization. That is to say, greater disparity between classes. than homogenization, that is to say, making the classes the same. It's one of the things I liked about Legion, actually. They weren't afraid to make each of the classes, you know, completely different. Mostly because of the artifacts. Yep, okay.
By the gods.
Yes, Rax.
When the Ondo spoke of a city, I did not think they meant an actual city.
I say, no, this is Amarant. Or piece of it.
Then we are seeing the same view. The remnants in the Ondo settlement were solid material structures. But these... everything here pulses with ether. 'Tis an enchantment on a monumental scale.
And over there, the Faith Wall is maintaining it. Sorry. Oop. Nope. One cannot blame the Ondo for fleeing the spectacle of these brooding edifices. We, however, have not the luxury of fear. Emmett Silk holds the Exarch captive somewhere within this vast city. Yet even if we must search every alleyway, we will find them. When the chieftain spoke of lights shining from the abyss, this is not at all what I imagined. Why would Emmett Silk do this? Really? It's really obvious why he would do this, dude. Or dudette. You'd think all those tall, dark buildings would be frightening, but for some reason they just make me feel sad. I mean, this is basically a grave. A gravestone. It's big, I'll grant you, but cluttered city streets are far more conducive to infiltration than open spaces. This will work to our advantage, trust me. I mean, you'd know, with your time in Garlemald. Lord, did you note the style of the architecture? 'Tis the same used for the remnants of the cups and the Merle's painted towers. Look closely. Emmett Silk has not simply reclaimed these ruins, he has layered the semblance of an entire city upon them. Gosh, the magnitude of this artifice is staggering. Though it pains me to admit, we do not fully understand the feats of which an old-world Ascian is capable. Well, yeah, we've never really encountered one. Rax, do you want Quick Arm, Quick Tongue, Battle Dance, or Piety? Quick Arm. There's going to be another one, which I'll also get Quick Arm for then. It's intimidating, but we must start somewhere. Why don't we have a closer look at that tower to the southeast? Might be able to reach the edge of the trench. There's an ether current. Next patch. Amarant is now fully explorable. The things that keep getting me is the City of the Ancients things. Like, the city looks Cosmopolitan. But then there's those things. Like, there's just random spires of seemingly... I don't have a good word for it. Like, almost choral structures. Hence the City of the Ancients reference to FF7. Art? What the hell is art? I've never heard of that. I'm playing a video game, man. Look at the size of those doors. Now I know how pixies must feel. Lore Runner recognized. Welcome to the city of Amarant. Will you be riding the lift? He actually gave me access. I mean, he did invite me here. Mayhap is not so passing strange. Did Emmett Selk not invite Lore to visit his abode? 'Tis plain thy coming was expected. And where will this lift be taking us? The lift services every level of Akora Heights, but is presently configured to convey the passengers directly to the ground floor. There you have it. In the absence of a few hundred yalms of rope, we have little choice but to accept the offer. With emphasis on we. I'm not about to let you walk into that place alone. I mean, I can speak like that in normal life, Cash, although I have to think about it. I've demonstrated that on camera. So, I find myself wondering what the original people looked like. The Emerocians. They were probably humanoid, since the humanoid races we know are based on reduced and lessened fragments of them. But obviously every Ascian we've seen so far, including the one we know for total certainty is a Prime Ascian. You know, wear different skins, basically. Also, I want to read that one out loud. Facilities include Bureau of Administration, Bureau of the Architect, and the Capital. Oh, let's talk to people. Can't believe how tall everything is. Yeah, that's part of why I keep mentioning that. Obviously, in real life, there's plenty of places that have tall things, but, I mean... If I didn't know better, if I was in Dungeons & Dragons or whatever, and my GM was describing this place, I would presume these people were basically giants to some extent or another. In fact, I've played in a campaign like that. Seems peaceful enough, he said, tempting fate. Each of these towers seems a veritable city itself. Even a Gigas would feel inadequate in the surroundings. You know, it just occurred to me, these people haven't really seen cities before, have they? You know, cities, like our standard of cities. I mean, I know there's MMO scale and all that, but New Gridania and Limsa Lominsa are not that large, really. Doma was not that large. Garlemald is as big as it gets, and even that's just not this. Doesn't even come close to this. If mine eyes do not deceive, we stand in some manner of communal square. Just a moment. I thought I saw something. Nah. There's nothing here. Oh, I heard the ticking of the clock. It's probably hard to hear on stream, but I can hear it. It's only at this distance you start to realize how big the buildings truly are. What did that voice call the city? Amarant? Look, over there. Is that a person? Ah, no, my mistake. That's a giant. Doesn't seem to have noticed us yet. Giant or no, residents of this place may have much more... oh my god. Giant or no, a resident of this place may have much and more to tell us. I say we make the first move. Also, no, you can't just... We can just kill it if it's hostile. Whoa! That's creepy. Pray excuse my boldness. Might I ask you a few questions? Jesus, they really are tall, aren't they? Oh, what adorable costumes. Are you children on an excursion? This district has much to teach you. How odd. That sounded like no language I've ever heard, but I understood every word. Just as he understood us. Ah, so this is not their true form? Okay. What district is this exactly? You must be lost. Poor things. You stand in the the Polylirate district, wherein lie the institutions most vital to the management of our star. I wish I was that tall. Well, maybe not that tall, but I wish I was much taller. Can you tell us who rules this city? Who rules? What a curious question. Mayhap you refer to the supervising body, the Convocation of the 14. So Emet-Selch isn't the leader here. Yeah, you're taller than me, Valvatrix, by 5 inches. Emet-Selch is a member of the Convocation. Were you hoping to witness its deeds firsthand? Hardly surprising, I suppose. The whole world holds its breath as the final days draw near, and our brightest minds race to implement their plans. Thus, you must understand that gaining an audience at this time will be next to impossible. You should hurry home now before your families begin to worry. Do you need me to walk you back? No, thank you. We'll be fine. Very well. Take care, little ones. Yeah, they've got to be pretty tall. 20-foot range. I mean, Emmett did say they were all a very peaceful, nice people. Although there are 2 holes in that I'm still wondering about. Hole number 1. What the hell was the calamity? He still hasn't explained what the calamity was that caused them to actually summon Zodiark to begin with. Hole number 2. They were apparently this completely peaceful, perfect world with paradise and no war and no conflict, and everyone was awesome. Until Zodiark showed up, and then other people decided to oppose them, and war were declared. And I know this is going to sound strange, but that doesn't actually line up. There's something missing there. Now, granted, all our info is from Emet-Selch, and he could be rose-tinted goggling things, so... To my eyes, these people appear as arcane entities. I suspect Emet-Selch wove them from the ether, much as he reconstructed the rest of the city. Final days. Such words well befit the oblivion described to us by our Asian foe. A catastrophe of unprecedented scale, which did set in motion the summoning of Zodiark, and thence Hydaelyn herself. But that happened centuries and centuries ago, didn't it? The man spoke as if they were rushing to avert a disaster here and now. Yeah, it's... Come on, guys. For the people, the distant past is here and now. I believe thou hast the right of it, Master Alphino. This ethereal Amaurot and its residents appear to be phantoms of a different age. Emet-Selch hath resurrected a memory, a moment in time from before the star was sundered. See, that's how tall I want to be in real life. Just taller than everyone else around me. By quite a bit, in some cases. But no, I'm only 6 feet. At least I'm big. So we find ourselves in a long-destroyed city inhabited by long-departed. An unusual situation, to be sure, but at least we're able to parley with these ancients. In fact, they seem downright eager to chat. I say we use this to our advantage. Split up, strike some conversations, see if we can't learn the location of our quarry. While we're at it, Wouldn't hurt to wheedle out a few more details regarding this convocation of 14 and their impending disasters. I am basically twice Alphino and Alizé's height, if we're standing side by side. To mingling, then. Let's meet back here when our jaws start aching. Oh, it's a good time to chop off. Actually, I'm not decided if I want to do that or not. I am 6 feet, 12 inches. Or wait, shoot. I was going to make a joke and I completely forgot it. Ah, well. I will never do the side quests here. So again, I am really tall by in-game standards, right? Like, I'm not as tall as possible. You see what I mean, Rax? People constantly ask me this. No, I'm not going to play WoW Classic. But even compared to someone who's got a decent height like Rax here, I'm well over a head taller than him here. And I was going to compare myself next to those things, but the point I was trying to make is I'm not even half their height. They are quite large. I mean, we could stop here if we want to. But before we do, I want to discuss something. One of the things... I'm probably only a few inches taller than you in real life, Rax. Like I said, I'm not that tall. I'm only 6 foot. One of the things that we've talked many times off camera, in like the Discord or whatever, we've talked many times about how cool it would be, or how we would implement it if we wanted to tie FF14 in canon into other things. Like, obviously, Ivalice is referenced, and FF3 is referenced, and FF6 is referenced, but they're not actually here. The only thing that is actually continuity, the one and only thing that's canon, is Gilgamesh. You know, the usual continuity tie for FFs. But I point this out because we've had talks about how we would implement, like how we would tie in Kingdom Hearts, or how we would tie in Nier. I actually think it would fit pretty well if it really was Lavos. Now, it's not, and it won't be, obviously. But if you think about it, it'd be more accurate to say a Lavos, just another of the Lavoses, traveling through the stars and colliding with the original world here. I mean, think about that for a second. These people are very advanced and very technologically and magically powerful, but Lavos is just on a whole other scale. That's part of the point of Lavos, is that it's this massive, inalienable threat. It's this completely incomprehensible thing that just bams into a planet and consumes and destroys it. And it would make sense that they would be so desperate that they would basically summon the first primal in order to try and combat the thing. And during the showcasing that we showed where Emmett was giving us the star visual representation thing, he showed that the world was destabilized and was completely corrupted until Zodiark showed up, which fixed the world and put it back to normal. So literally excising the tumor, so to speak, would accomplish such a thing, given how much power Lavos is able to bring to bear. Now, Remedy Zexion, hang on, I'm still going with this. Remedy Zexion points out something. There's another point. Omega was sent out as a scout. You remember that? Omega was from another world, another system. And Omega ended up here as part of a mission, and it was supposed to report back. It just went so far and so long that it basically lost contact, which is actually a really sad part of the story, but, you know, whatever. What if the reason they had built Omega was specifically to try and combat a Lavos? What if the thing that Midgar Zormer had fled from was a Lavos? Think about it. Now, I will admit that basically the exact same concept could apply to Genova just as equally as Lavos. I just kind of prefer Lavos to Genova personally, at least for this kind of scale. I mean, at the very least, it's probably some kind of Lavos equivalent. Which brings up an interesting point. How much of all of these connect? Because I would argue that there is a recurring trend of planetary calamities don't remember that. I'll have to rewatch the Omega stuff at some point. I thought Omega was being sent for some other reason. Anyways, what if there is a connecting point between these two relevant world level calamities? What if there is an actual deliberate connecting point? And what if that's what we're actually building up to in the story? Like, they keep saying the current story arc's going to end in, what, 7.0 or whatever? What if that's where we're going with it? Is dealing with the original calamities? Now, this is reading way too much into it, but there is one other thing in Final Fantasy history that's been regularly called a calamity. Anyways, but I think we will go ahead and chop off right here. So